In the Meadowlands of New Jersey, nearby to New York City, where today the Jets hook up with the Cleveland Browns. The final weekend, and the AFC wildcard teams are still undecided. Miami, Denver, the Jets, and New England, the remaining playoff contenders. 3 will make it, 1 will not. The Giants beat Pittsburgh yesterday, and the arithmetic of it all knocked Cincinnati out. Today, the New York Jets, with a win, can secure a playoff spot and the home field for next weekend's AFC wildcard game. Good afternoon, everyone. From Giant Stadium in New Jersey, Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy, and all the best from everyone at NBC Sports to all of you in this holiday season. Congratulations to the Cleveland Browns, new champions of the AFC Central. Trump, they got the news in a funny way.
Yeah, maybe the first time they ever win a division championship in the air. And, of course, this is Marty Schottenheimer's first division championship as a head coach. Before the game, I talked to him, and the way the team got the news and took the news, rather surprising.
When it was apparent yesterday that the Giants had prevailed in the game against Pittsburgh, our squad was mildly excited about it, but there was no real euphoria. I think probably the reason is that the outset of our season, we set a goal of the Super Bowl, not the divisional championship. And inasmuch as we haven't yet achieved our goal, we still have some excitement in front of us.
So Coach Schottenheimer and the Browns are in. They want to win today. The Jets have to. It's a big game for them.
Yeah, I don't think you can print must in big enough letters when it applies to the New York Jets. They're playing in their home field. They've got to win to be in. And early this morning, you see the pressure on the Jet players. That's a long time ago. Those guys been sitting in that locker room preparing for this game.
And now it's game time. There is Coach Walton across the way. After consecutive 7-9 seasons, Joe Walton's Jets hoping to win themselves into the playoffs in the home field for the opening wild card game. See how he looks at it. And Coach Marty Schottenheimer, in his first full season as Cleveland Browns head coach, he took over midway last year. In his first full season, he has a division champion. There, of course, has been criticism of the AFC Central, the parity, not the good records in that division, but Schottenheimer says, ask Dallas and the Giants how good this division is. Cincinnati, of course, beat Dallas in a rout, and Cleveland beat the Giants here early in December. Here's the kickoff now downfield. It goes to the Cleveland Browns. The ball is picked up on the near side, and coming up the field with it is Boyce Green, and he is knocked down hard as he gets across the 15-yard line. Rich Miana was down to make the play for the Jets. And here is Bernie Kosar, 21 years old, would be a college senior, starting at quarterback, the vaunted rookie from Miami of Florida. The running backs, 2 very good ones. Ernest Biner, power back straight ahead, and Kevin Mack, who is over 1,000 yards, and Biner could be by day's end. He needs 99 yards to get there. Wide receivers have been a problem. They've been injured. Tight ends as good as there is. Ozzie Newsome. Jets and the Browns with histories of close games. Last year at Cleveland, the Jets won 24-20 coming from behind. Here is a hit behind the line. Kevin Mack runs the ball, and Mark Gastineau shooting in, makes the knockdown for a loss.
Jets start with a blitz. Outside blitz by the linebacker. There before the running back could even take a step.
Yeah, Jets started with a 4-man line. Normally they go with Gastineau, Klecko, and Bennett. Linebackers excel, particularly on the inside. Kyle Clifton and Lance Mel. Crable's coming off a knee injury that kept him out for a full year. The secondary is banged up. At this point in the season, most are. Now it is second down and about 16 for Cleveland. Opening drive. Biner. Jets looking for the run, and there's not much to get. Bob Crable filled the gap. 4th-year linebacker from Notre Dame, who's moved up to a starting role now, one he had previously, but Rusty Gilbo's out and Crable's moved into an outside position.
You can see this good rushing defense by the New York Jets control the line of scrimmage. You'll stop any team from rushing, and Cleveland Browns will not be deterred. They can be stopped, but they'll keep running the ball right in there. They didn't want to put Bernie Kosar in this position, 3rd down and 13 early in the game, Don.
No, they did not. Kosar, you see, getting set in the shotgun. That's Bud Carson, defensive coordinator for the Jets. To the run they go, and up the middle goes Ernest Biner, and he is not to the first down. Out to the 24-yard line of Cleveland. Gain of 12, but not enough, and the Browns have to punt the ball to the Jets. Matt Monger was in there to make the play. The punter is Jeff Gossett, 4th-year player from Eastern Illinois. Middle of the pack as yardage goes, as you see, just over 40. Kurt Sohn, a very quick wide receiver and kick returner back for the Jets. Spiral, well hit. Sohn will take it inside his 30. Special teams play is very spirited and very good, as coming down to make the hit for Cleveland was Travis Tucker, a backup tight end. The punt 46 yards, a return of 4. And now Ken O'Brien, with a quarterback rating of almost 100, comes out to direct the Jet offense with Freeman McNeil, a Pro Bowl starter, ready to run the ball. The blocking back Tony Page, tremendous speed on the flanks, and Wesley Walker and Al Toon. Offensive line has been somewhat inconsistent, although over the years it's been a very good one. Pitch back, and here is Freeman McNeil. He gets to the 34. We could, Trump, see the Jets go into alignment without a huddle. They've been talking about doing that. They might go right into alignment so Cleveland can't make the defensive substitutions, and that's what the Jets are going to do.
Try to get rid of the butterflies as quickly as you can.
So they line up without a huddle at 2nd down and 9 now. O'Brien takes a look, swings it out, and McNeil can't get it. Very nearly a lateral, and he wisely covers the ball, although it was ruled an incomplete forward pass. So that brings up 3rd down, and the Jets go right into alignment again. No huddle.
Keeping the Cleveland Browns nickel package off the field. Now the Jets do go back in the huddle.
Yep, now they call the huddle. And the Browns get their substitutions in as a couple of new DBs comes in. Sam Clancy comes in to rush the passer. Chris Rockins and Felix Wright come in as extra defensive backs. Clay Matthews, a standout linebacker, did not start today for Cleveland. Curtis Weathers in there at the outside position. Matthews with a groin pull. Taking a look downfield, and there's the throw, and it's incomplete at the 49-yard line. So the Jets come up empty on 3 downs, and they'll punt the ball. He's looking at Kurt Sohn.
Al Gross was very close to the interception. That ball poorly thrown by Ken O'Brien with just 7 interceptions so far this season. I'm kind of surprised at that opening drive by the New York Jets. I'd have liked to see what the Giants did yesterday. Just ram it right at the Cleveland Browns defense. They tried to get tricky on the first drive.
Now they'll punt the ball. Cleveland ready for a second possession. A bright sunny day, but very cold. You saw the temperature at the outset, 22 degrees at kickoff. And the winds kick up here in the Meadowlands of New Jersey as the day wears on. Brian Brennan back deep. And Brian Brennan bails out at the 27-yard line, and that's where the Browns go on offense for a second time. We'll be back to Giant Stadium right after this. To seasons past. 1970, they opened the season and opened Monday Night Football in the NFL. Joe Namath was the quarterback, but the Browns were the better team that night, beating the Jets 31-21. So far, with a possession for each team at Giant Stadium, nothing on the board, as the Cleveland Browns break the huddle with Bernie Kosar at quarterback. The $1 million a year rookie from Miami of Florida, who quarterbacked that team to a national championship. Biner, power back from East Carolina, breaks it. First down, but markers down on the play. At the line of scrimmage, strong safety Kirk Springs made the knockdown for the Jets. Trump?
I think that run is going to stand. One thing about this Jet defensive line, they are very anxious offsides defense. Yes, very anxious to get to that ball. Kosar and the Browns can be very smart today if they go on a lot of long counts.
Number 73, defense, decline, first down.
Pro Bowl nose tackle on Mike Babb. Now this is rather surprising because the nose tackle is looking right at the football. You see his hand? His hand is offsides. Good call. They'll give Biner the yards. He's trying to get that 99 to have a tandem of 2 running backs over 1,000 yards in one season.
Got 16 on that one, so it's 1st and 10 Cleveland. No score. Kevin Mack, open field as he turns the corner and hits down to the Jet 45-yard line. An 11-yard gain.
Now, one of the advantages late in the season that the home team has is naming the side of the field that they want to play on or want to sit on. Jets in the sun. They don't look extremely cold over there. Well, actually, neither do the Browns at this point, but in the shade, it's probably a 20-degree difference in temperature, one side of the field or the other.
So when the sun starts to drop here, and it's projected to be a cloudy day by late afternoon, it's going to get real cold. Chill factor will take it way down because the winds kick up. 22 degrees at kickoff.
4-man front for the Jets.
Looking to rush Bernie Kosar, but he's going to run the ball right here. He loses the snap. Free football. Jets have a play on it, and they get it. Gastineau, the 38-yard line. Pro Bowl starter Mark Gastineau with a Pro Bowl play.
Don, one of the negatives of the nose tackle like Joe Klecko, jumping off sides, is also a positive. He is a constant threat to that center. The center, Mike Babb, I think had a very crucial block on Joe Klecko. And the ball never gets up to Bernie Kosar. That ball is cold and very, very hard. Bernie never got it cleanly. Jets, big turnover.
No score. The Jets in their first sequence were going into alignment without a huddle after first down. Let's see what they do after this play. O'Brien. Raymond McNeil. And the gain is good for very nearly 10 yards. It's a big day in the AFC East with a lot on the line. New England with a 3-0 lead over the Bengals. Cincinnati's out. The Patriots are in with the victory. Buffalo and Miami scoreless at the moment at the Orange Bowl. The Dolphins with a win the AFC East. That week off means a lot.
Gets everybody healthy.
Cleveland needs it badly. They've got nicked people. Walking wounded this late in the season for everybody. And now the Jets, after the fumble recovery by Gastineau, starting to threaten. Second down on the yard. McNeil. The Browns are there. Reggie Camp coming up to make the hit. Now let's go to NFL 85 and Bob Costas. Bob?
Don, after the Patriots recovered a James Brooks fumble, Craig James ripped off this 35-yard run. They weren't able to get into the end zone, but it did set up a field goal by Tony Franklin of 25 yards. The Patriots lead at home in the first, 3-0.
And here at Giant Stadium, no score as the Jets now have third down and about 3. McNeil, so elusive and quick, but the Browns with a very strong defense, one of the best in the American Conference, shut down the gaps, and Hanford Dixon came up to make the play, along with Pro Bowl nose tackle Bob Golick. Player down for the Jets.
Already. Give an assist to Curtis Weathers, outside linebacker replacing Clay Matthews. He was there to take on that lead blocker. We'll find out who it is as soon as we can.
And we'll be back to Giant Stadium after this.
The cast of characters here from behind the offense. 24, Freeman McNeil. Watch Ted Banker, number 63. As the play develops, sometimes the people who cause the injuries are your own players. That's Freeman McNeil rolling up the leg of Ted Banker. He is still on the ground. He was starting in place of Reggie McElroy, who had not been playing particularly well for the New York Jets, and he's not gotten up yet.
So Coach Joe Walton thin in the offensive line with great concern on the sideline. Ted Banker, offensive tackle, starting on the left side, going down early in this game. We have 9:58 to play in the first quarter. The Jets got their second possession when a fumbled snap from center was booted back. Gastineau, like a runaway stallion, shot through and got to the ball. Now the Jets have fourth down and about 3 coming up. It would be a 46 or 47-yard field goal for Pat Leahy, who's on the field.
Well, this is as bad as it can possibly be when a player can't get off the field under his own power. Always very concerned.
Miami here taking a 7-0 lead over the Buffalo Bills. If the Dolphins, and they're a prohibitive favorite, should beat Buffalo, a team with just 2 wins, the Dolphins would finish 12-4. So while Ted Banker, unfortunately, is helped from the field, a leg injury suffered early in this game, 9:58 to play. In the first quarter, the score is the Jets 0 and the Cleveland Browns 0.
It's strange how often that happens in the NFL, that with all of the collisions you have between offensive and defensive players, more times than not, it's a running back falling into the legs of your teammate that results in a serious injury. Of course, that wasn't the case when Joe Theismann had his leg problem, but You do see an awful lot of players hurt by their own players.
Freeman McNeil, one of the great runners in pro football, has missed all of virtually 2 games and still has almost 1,300 yards for the season. Now Pat Leahy, who's hit from 55 as the season longest, ready to try one, a 47-yarder. And Pat Leahy is on the money, and the Jets are on the board. It's a 3-0 New York Jet lead. So they get points out of the turnover. Officially a 46-yarder for Pat Leahy. We'll be back with the Jets kickoff after this. Kick it off has just hit a 46-yard field goal to give the Jets a 3-0 lead. Kick downfield is taken by Langhorne. Reggie Langhorne moving it across the 20 and out to the 27-yard line. So while the Browns offense comes off, let's go back to NFL 85. Bob?
Don, Miami, as expected, has jumped in front of Buffalo at 7-0 after Dan Marino's 29th TD pass of the year. Nice catch on the 19-yarder by Bruce Hardy. The 29 TD throws leads the NFL, and Miami leads 7-0 against Buffalo. Don.
All right, Bob, as we're 0-0 here, or 3-0 here, Cleveland trailing the New York Jets. A wind tunnel of sorts down the end zone.
That door is open on the east end of the end zone. Creates a real breeze against the Jets. Leahy kicked a 46-yarder against a stiff wind.
Penalty markers go down before the snap of the ball. You absolutely cannot predict the wind here by the flags. Phil McConkey, the punt returner for the Giants, who knows the winds here as well as anyone, said the only way you can determine what the winds are going to do here is by putting a piece of paper on the playing field and watch what it does. The flags tell you nothing because it swirls, and they'll be blowing different ways at different ends of the stadium.
Second jump off sides by Joe Klecko. I mean, you certainly want your player to be aggressive, but he is looking at that brown thing, which is a football. He can't move until it does, but centers are tricky. They'll flex their fingers, and all of a sudden Klecko's 5 yards deep in the offensive set.
Kosar's going with some long counts, too. The Jets are anxious. They need this game. They can get in if New England loses also, but the Patriots are winning right now. And the Jets stuff the run. Ernest Biner, that power back at 5'10", 215. Doesn't get a thing but a load of Mark Gastineau, who's having a big game that includes a fumble recovery that led to the only score of this game, the field goal.
Watch what happens at the line of scrimmage. You can see that the Jets are in the backfield of the Cleveland Browns. And just as Biner gets the ball, there's Gastineau. I mean, no chance whatsoever for the running back to gain any yardage. He beat Ricky Bolden, a converted tight end, with an inside slant.
Kevin Mack, the lone setback now for the Cleveland Browns as they go on 2nd and 6. Mack breaks it, first down and plenty more as he's out to the 49-yard line. About the 48, they'll spot it of Cleveland. A 16-yard run, and Trump early. The Browns are breaking some big stuff wide.
Yeah, he gets it there in a hurry, doesn't he? This kid, by the way, probably the least known running back in the NFL, but should be the Rookie of the Year. Officially by the NFL, if you do not report to another NFL training camp prior to your first year, you are a rookie. This guy qualifies, should get that award. Excellent running back, 5.1 yards a carry, and quick.
He was a standout for Los Angeles of the U.S. Football League. Browns got him in that special supplemental draft, and he's been terrific. Almost 1,100 yards coming into this game, and a 5.1 per carry average for Kevin Mack. Kosar on a called sprint out. Very nearly in the hands of linebacker Lance Mell. He was looking at a tight end, Travis Tucker. We're going to be updating the AFC East scoreboard for all day, and that's how it stands now. Cincinnati has tied New England, although the Bengals are out of it. They can have something to say about knocking people on the ropes also with the win at New England today.
Folks in Denver got their fingers crossed with those two scores.
$7:52 to go in the first quarter. That was the first throw of the day by Bernie Kosar. You see his numbers up to this game. He's 4-5 as a starter. Kevin Mack. George Lilja led the blocking, 62. And Kevin Mack takes it ahead to about the 49-yard line. Got about a yard, that was all. So it'll be 3rd down and 9.
You mentioned George Lilja, a lot of offensive lines are basically anonymous in the NFL. This Cleveland offensive line, you can best describe as invisible. Highest draft choice, a 5th rounder, and he's a converted tight end. 2 guards are former Jets.
They've done a good job, these Brown offensive line, when you got 2 backs that could go for 1,000 yards this year. Rarely happens on the same team. Here is Kosar. He has a strike and a first down, free ball, out of bounds. Now they rule it an incomplete pass. Gary Glenn was defending against Freddie Banks, a rookie from Liberty Baptist, very small player but very quick, and he lost his corner in a hurry.
I'll tell you what, Bernie Kosar, for just 21 years old, has done an excellent job and improved a great deal. Last week he was 14 of 28, had about 6 passes dropped just like this. That second foot has to be on the ground before the completion counts. Incomplete. Cleveland punts.
Gossett hits it very well downfield with the wind at his back. Kurt Stone's going to let it take a hop. The Browns work hard to down it, and they do. Ball's going to be put down at the 5-yard line. Chris Rockins, the sprinter from Oklahoma State, got down and down to 46-yard punt. So the Jets get it, but they're in trouble right now. Joe Walton sees his Jets back to their 5-yard line now, and the punt was tipped out of bounds by Chris Rockins of the Cleveland Browns. So the Jets with a 3-0 lead go on offense on a very cold day at Giant Stadium. 1st and 10 from their 5.
Jets have had trouble winning in the last 6 weeks, just 3-3. Of course, they've lost to some very good teams.
Last time out, they were beaten by the Bears here in a Saturday game, 19-6. Jets have lost 2 of their last 3. Well, they could back in. They don't want to go into the playoffs losing 3 of their last 4. Home run ball. Wesley Walker, still a flyer after all these years, and it's almost intercepted by Frank Minifield. Broken up. So the Jets try to get it all from their end zone.
O'Brien had excellent time to throw, too. Great pass protection, good play action fake. They got Wesley Walker against Buffalo like this a couple of weeks ago. Minifield with those gloves on. Ball gets in there. And then the receiver does a great job, Wesley Walker, of making sure the interception does not take place. That's the receiver's responsibility. Make sure the other guy doesn't get it.
O'Brien, the NFL's top-rated passer, only 1 of 4 now for 9 yards. Freeman McNeil, and the Browns come a-hitting. A standout player, Eddie Johnson, an inside linebacker, and nose tackle Bob Golick got him, and now back to NFL 85. Bob?
Don, the bomb didn't work for the Jets a moment ago, but it does for New England here. Tony Eason, a 50-yard beauty to Stanley Morgan, and after an early exchange of field goals, the Patriots now lead Cincinnati 10-3 in the first. Back to Cricky and Trumpy.
Thank you, Bob. We have 6:22 to play in the first quarter here at Giant Stadium. The Jets on a 46-yard field goal by Pat Leahy lead the Cleveland Browns 3-0. Now 3rd and long for the Jets, deep in their own end. O'Brien loses the ball at the 2.
He's down.
They rule him down. Was he down in the end? No safety signal.
Boy, this is a lace away from the goal line.
Bryan's had problems. He's been sacked a lot.
Now that's Banker was removed. Reggie McElroy takes over at tackle, and you'll watch from the backside of Ken O'Brien, the 60th time he's been down this season, and he's been on the mat more than Hulk Hogan. Hairston with the sack.
Here's a tough punt coming up, too, for Dave Jennings. He's at the end of his end zone. Instead of the needed 15 yards for the regular alignment, he has just 10, so it's got to be quick, and the Browns will be a-humming. Brian Brennan's back deep for Cleveland. Browns will get good field position here. Brennan will take it on the Jet side of the field. Great move by Brennan. He has Jennings to beat. Can he do it? He does. He's in, and Cleveland's on the board with a 6-3 lead. Curtis Weathers made the blast block that sprung him, a 36-yard punt, and into the end zone with it goes Brian Brennan. And the Cleveland Browns, already champions of the AFC Central, looking to go 9-7 to finish regular season play, take a 6-3 lead.
On first punt return for a touchdown by the Cleveland Browns. Once he gets through this first wall, Curtis Weathers has a big block for Brennan. He's playing without gloves. Last week, he had the gloves on, dropped several passes, took them on, very sure-handed. Big 6 points for Cleveland.
Point after by Matt Barr is up and good. So the boos are heard here at Giant Stadium. They weren't looking for this, a special teams touchdown.
If the Jets prepared all week to have a good, solid performance, there you see Weathers a block on Monger. First time they returned a punt for a touchdown since 1967. A receiver who was too small, not fast enough to play in the NFL. Caught passes from Doug Flutie. Excellent punt returner. He's back there, not for his speed, Don, for his great hands. You don't want a turnover on those punts.
And no gloves on a cold day.
Yeah, that's last week he had no luck with the gloves. Hi, Mom.
Hello, end zone. 5:51 to go first quarter, and the Browns break a big one. A punt return for a touchdown, their first in almost 20 years, 1967. And Cleveland takes a 7-3 lead. So the Jets, who can still get in if the Cincinnati Bengals should beat New England today. That's not happening right now. The Patriots are up 10-3. Really need a win here today, do the Jets, to get in.
And Johnny Hector on deep.
Johnny Hector and Bobby Humphrey, two speeders, back at the 5-yard line for the Jets, ready to return it.
Yeah, Browns only have 10 men on the field. Here comes Frank Minifield to fill out the 11.
Matt Barr ready to kick it off now for Cleveland after hitting the extra point. Humphrey, he can go. Not here, though. Free ball. And the Jets get it. So disaster almost striking twice for the Jets in a matter of seconds. They do get the ball, and their offense comes back out.
He catches the ball cleanly, Don. No problems whatsoever. Johnny Davis, 38, down there to almost jar the ball loose. Well, that's a desperation grab. Bounced right that time for the Jets.
Jets go to the run on first down and 10, and the Cleveland Browns stuff it. These are two of the best teams in the NFL at stopping the run. Jets are best in the American Conference. The Lions leading the Chicago Bears 3-0 at Pontiac, Michigan. Eagles and Vikings both long gone from a playoff standpoint. Tied at the Humphrey Dome in Minneapolis.
Second and 9 from the 22.
Kansas City, with the word that John Makovic will indeed be back to coach the team again next season, leading San Diego, and the Packers in front of Tampa Bay. Throwing a strike and a first down for the Jets. Wesley Walker running the out pattern, turning back at the ball. Big, strong Ken O'Brien putting an 11-yard throw right on the numbers.
Tell you one thing, when O'Brien gets time to throw, he can get it done. The only quarterback in the NFL completing 60% of his passes. Very conservative approach there by the New York Jets, and right now they got to go to bread and butter. No reason to be fancy. That's Zeke Bratkowski there on Joe Walton's left. Ken O'Brien's personal coach. There he is.
So it's first down and 10 for the Jets. They trail in the game 7-3. Looking at Schuler, he was open, then he didn't go to him. He goes to Freeman McNeil, who dances ahead on a first down play for about 9 yards, out to the 44-yard line. Across the front three of the Browns, Reggie Camp and Carl Hairston, the defensive ends. Bob Golick, a Pro Bowl nose tackle. Linebackers excel. Chip Banks with 11 sacks already. Curtis Weathers starting for the injured Clay Matthews on the right side. Eddie Johnson's been tremendous. Cousineau, the other inside backer. Roth, Rogers, the safeties, two big league hitters. 2nd and 1 for the Jets. Freeman McNeil.
Oh, I'm telling you.
He got there, it was barely.
That Chip Banks is unbelievable. He takes on the tight end, and Wesley Walker shoves them both back 3 yards, and there to make the tackle. He should be illegal as a linebacker. I mean, if he's going to be that good and that strong and that big, you got to make him a defensive lineman. Watch at the right-hand side of the screen. Just shove Wesley Walker back. Oh.
Derek Burrows, a rookie for the Buffalo Bills, just found a way to keep Mark Duper out of the end zone. He got in a fight with him, and they were both thrown out of the game.
This kid right there, 56, he realized what might have happened to the Cleveland Browns if he had accepted a trade to the Buffalo Bills at the beginning of this season. He said, "I'm not going." One of the best things a player's ever said to a team.
Chip Banks named a Pro Bowl starter again for the Cleveland Browns. Third time he's had that honor, and he's in his 4th year. Out of Southern California, high #1 draft choice. Wears the biggest shoulder pads the shoulder pad manufacturers ever made. Chip Banks, 6'4", 235. Now on 3rd and short, Jets go with a power formation. Freeman McNeil heads over the top behind the blocking of Tony Page or Johnny Hector over the top. Curtis Weathers made the hit, but the Jets get where they had to go and get the first down.
He didn't make it by much.
First down for the Jets.
You can see the defensive line trying to dive under there, make some penetration. Tom Cousineau and Curtis Weathers make contact, and Freeman McNeil didn't make that first down by more than the length of a football. But that's all he needed. Excuse me. Johnny Hector made the first down.
He was a Southwest Conference long jump champion, was Johnny Hector, and they used him here. Kemp might have left early. Here's the marker as Freeman McNeil runs.
Ball carried by Freeman.
Tell you, Freeman McNeil, one of the best at breakaway runs, is really getting stuffed at the line by these Cleveland defenders. Eddie Johnson filled the gap, having another standout year, the only Cleveland linebacker who was not a high #1 draft choice.
This game is simple. There's no question about it. If you can control the line of scrimmage.
Number 96, defense, still first down.
That football is only a foot long. If you can control the foot on either side of that football, this is an easy game to play and an easy game to win.
49.
Now look at that line of scrimmage. And you see Camp offsides, but there's no bow in that Cleveland defense.
I don't know if it's ever an easy game to play the way these guys
From up
pop.
here it is.
Here's a 1st and 5. Freeman McNeil on the run. At his very best in the open field with those cutback moves, and Freeman McNeil is down to the Cleveland 40-yard line. The Jets are trailing 7-3 in the first quarter, 2:20 to play in it.
10-yard pickup by McNeil. This is the most difficult pass for a quarterback to complete. He's got to judge distance to the sideline, still keep the running back heading upfield so he doesn't break stride. O'Brien throws it very well.
Ken O'Brien comes in with 24 touchdown passes and only 7 interceptions, but as you pointed out, Trumpy's been sacked 60 times this year. He'll eat the ball rather than put it up into coverage if he's not sure.
That's a fumble.
Not the official's opinion.
Oh, that's a tough call right there.
Dick Jorgensen right there said the arm was coming forward. Hairston getting him from the blind side. And so it does go as an incomplete pass, fortunately for Ken O'Brien and the Jets.
Yeah, Sohn does come up with the football. But once again, that's Reggie McElroy, offensive left tackle, trying to handle Hairston. And to this point, not getting it done. Hairston has had a sack. Watch from behind Ken O'Brien. Was his arm going forward? Well, I guess so. Incomplete pass.
So the Jets trailing in a game that if they win will put them in the playoffs as a wild card home field team. Trailing 7-3 with 2nd and 10 coming up. They pick up the blitz. Long ball is picked off by Cleveland.
No.
Now they lose. It's going to go for a touchdown. Don Rogers had the ball and Kurt Sohn took it away and the Jets are in the end zone. Don Rogers playing with a hand in a cast. That was probably the reason he couldn't hold on. A sure interception. But he bobbled it and Sohn took it in for a touchdown, and the Jets take back the lead 9-7.
I'll tell you what happened, though. Rogers waited for that ball. He should have gone after it.
They're ruling it an interception and a forced fumble now. That Rogers did indeed intercept. That Sohn took the ball away from him.
Now you'll see Rogers standing back here. This ball is thrown way up. Rogers is almost standing dead still. There, he's waiting for it. Go up after it. Defensive backs are taught to go up after it. It hits the cast on his left thumb.
He never had it.
And Sohn goes after it. That is officially an 8-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Let's see again here now.
Ball is way overthrown. Hits the cast. He's got a glove on underneath it. Rogers never had it. That should be a pass reception for a touchdown. Don't you agree?
I think so.
That ball was never controlled by Rogers.
Jets could care less. It's 6 and then the 7th. Now they're saying it's a completed pass. First official word was it was an interception and a fumble recovery. Now a 39-yard touchdown pass play is what goes in the books. And 7 stays on the board for the Jets, and now it's a 10-7 game, New York.
Just the way they draw it up on the chalkboard.
Herman Fontenot back deep now to return the kickoff for Cleveland. This is Fontenot from LSU, and a fine special teams play as he swept down at the 20-yard line. Lester Lyles came downfield, number 26, to make the play for the Jets.
We got us a game here. One return for a touchdown. A little do-si-do pass reception by Kurt Zone for a touchdown. I like it. Got the crowd into the game. They're charged up now. This is the way football should be played. Jets responding to the pressure.
Bernie Kosar and the Cleveland Browns now from their 21. Ernest Biner again. The Browns break it to the outside, and Ernest Biner on the run up to the 49-yard line. Well, they're closing down those Jet linebackers. And Ernest Biner rips a 27-yard gain. Ernest Biner's up to a big day.
Now the Jets are still trying to watch the linebackers. You see Crable on the blitz. Great block by Mack. One of the interesting things about these two running backs, both are great blockers. That's rather unusual when you find two running backs approaching, one over 1,000 yards and one approaching 1,000 yards in one season.
Isn't there a history of teams with 2,000-yard rushers winning Super Bowls?
Oh, yeah. Pittsburgh and Miami both win.
Ernest Biner gets the call again. Marty Schottenheimer says he's not only one of our best runners, he's our best blocker in the backfield, and he's a team leader. Crable makes the stop. 33 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Detroit now tied up with Chicago 3-3. Kevin Butler hitting a field goal for the Bears. Kansas City closing strong in the cold at Arrowhead Stadium with a 14-3 lead over San Diego. Down to 14 seconds to play in the first quarter. Jets lead the game 10-7. Kevin Mack, they power the ball again at the Jets. Gets it inside the New York 45-yard line down to the 43. That'll bring up 3rd and 2. Bob Crable on another tackle along with Mark Gastineau.
And you know, the thing you got to like about these Cleveland Brown running backs is that when they take off from their stance, they are really flying when they get that football. Browns have yet to throw a pass, yet to complete a pass in the first quarter. And won't.
That's it. First 15 minutes is up. 10-7. The Jets are in the lead. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy at Giant Stadium. Bernie Kosar's only thrown 2 and has completed none.
Yeah, well, I think their game plan coming in here was to give it to Biner and to Mack as much as they possibly could. And the offensive line of the Browns doing an outstanding job of controlling that line of scrimmage.
Power set now for the Browns on 3rd and yard. Bernie's going to let it rip. Lofted ball to Ozzie Newsome in open field. He's inside the 20-yard line. His 61st catch of the year gets the Browns down close as they come inside the Jet 20. What a great player.
Well, just a moment ago we said he hadn't completed one. That's good for 24 yards. They got a double tight end set here. Travis Tucker right next to Ozzie Newsome. Newsome on the inside gets lost in the shuffle. Now watch what happens when he breaks out. No coverage. No coverage whatsoever.
1st and 10 from the 19.
Ozzie Newsome, who will start for the American Conference in the upcoming Pro Bowl game. He's caught 5 for touchdowns in this year. He has caught more balls over the last 5 seasons than anyone in pro football. Kosar timing pattern. He's right on the money, but it's broken up on a good hit by the Jets' Davlin Mullen. Freddie Banks, small and quick, was out there, and it looked like it was going to be on target.
That ball was thrown right on the money. Bernie had plenty of time. Watch Mark Gastineau, excellent pass rusher. George Lilja puts him right to the turf. Lilja was a reject from the New York Jets. Another one of those guys that no one outside of Cleveland really knows, but has done an outstanding job all season long.
set to go now. Second down and 10. This is Ernest Biner, and he is down to the 15-yard line.
Minor carries.
Game clock down to 14:40 and running, second quarter.
Springs and Lance Mel made the stop.
Browns ran the ball very well in the first quarter, as you see. Jets did not, but the bottom line is Jets 10 and the Browns 7.
Even in time of possession. And I noticed on that last play that Johnny Davis had a thunderous lead block. They put him in there. He's a battering ram for him.
Third down and 7 now for Cleveland as they go from the shotgun. Kosar incomplete at the 2-yard line. Herman Fontenot coming out of the backfield, lunging at the ball, and now the Cleveland field goal unit comes out. Paul McDonald to hold and Matt Farr to kick. He hits it, he'll tie the game.
You can see that the good play action fake by Bernie Kosar holds the linebackers at the line of scrimmage by the New York Jets. And Bernie put it right on the money. Just excellent coverage by Jet defensive backs. Incompletion.
New England now leading Cincinnati 10-6 after Jim Breach hit another field goal for the Bengals. Barr ready to try a 32-yarder, and he spins it up and good. And so with 13:56 to play in the first half, the Jets and the Browns are tied at 10-all.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Nikon, we take the world's greatest pictures. And by Visa, accepted worldwide for shopping, dining, and travel. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Back at Giant Stadium, the Jets and the Cleveland Browns are tied 10-10. They have a history of close games as Matt Farr kicks it off now for Cleveland. On the one hop, Bobby Humphrey takes it. He led the NFL a year ago in kickoff returns. And Bobby Humphrey has an open track and is finally knocked down out of the 39-yard line. Felix Wright ran him down for the Browns, but it was a 36-yard return.
This young man has helped the New York Jets once he got back and healthy. Well, they hung on to that one. When he gets turned upfield, all these kick returns, people I admire. I mean, you can look at the big guys, got the big shoulder pads, but these kickoff return guys, give their bodies to the team.
Tony Page, a big blocker, is out in front of McNeil, who gets the ball. And Freeman breaks one. He's ahead for 13 yards and a Jet first down to the 48-yard line of Cleveland. Check of the scoreboard. Patriots with a winner in the playoffs, and they lead the Bengals by a just 10-6 count in the second quarter at Foxborough. Miami holding to a 7-0 lead over the Bills at the Orange Bowl in Miami.
Jets got to start running the ball with some good consistency. They've only got 20 yards rushing. This is the best rushing team in the AFC. That'll take pressure off the team all the way around.
Handoff to Freeman McNeil on first down. He's down to the 47. Dan Reeves, the Broncos coach, might be phoning these other coaches at halftime. The Bengals and the Browns with some plays. Broncos get in if either the Jets or the Patriots lose today.
Saying a little halftime speech from Denver might help.
Second and 9 from the 47.
It'd really be something if an 11-5 team didn't go, but it's quite probable it could happen this year.
Yeah, I think the odds are. Denver also didn't make it in 81. It's 10-6.
O'Brien, as the blitz is on, goes down at his 41-yard line. Curtis Weathers, a big linebacker from Mississippi and superior athlete. He can jump over blockers.
I think the Cleveland Browns have found a weakness. Watch Reggie McElroy on Weathers. Now that's an offensive tackle at 280 pounds against a linebacker. Just shoves the offensive tackle out of the way. And O'Brien on the ground for the 61st time this season.
We are talking, Cup, about the history of close games these two teams had in the last 6 meetings. If the Jets and the Cleveland Browns have had the game decided in the last 2 minutes or in overtime. Jets won last year 24-20. Here's Freeman McNeil on 3rd and long, busting a long play, free football, and the Jets get it. Johnny Hector fell on the ball at the Cleveland 46-yard line for a couple of more yards. So on 3rd and long, they get the ball down to the Cleveland 46. It'll bring up now 4th down and about 7.
Appears to have the ball stripped. It's a 10-yard gain. Carrying the ball all right. 22 gets his hand in there. Felix Wright knocks it away. Hector in the right spot at the right time. He comes up with the ball.
Dave Jennings ready to punt the ball now. His back deep for the Cleveland Browns is Brian Brennan. Last time he had his hands on a punt return, you remember. Mr. Brennan ended up in the end zone 36 yards later for Cleveland's only touchdown. Up snap to Tony Page, and he's in open field. And he takes it inside the 20 and down to the 16-yard line. Brian Brennan, the punt returner, was the man who saved a touchdown. A 31-yard run right up the gut. Just like they like it at Shea Stadium in the game.
You can see the
Stadium, Giant Stadium, my word upon it.
You can see the center snap the ball to Page. No Cleveland Brown really notices it. It's a nice little trap. There's even a man out there to lead Tony Page down the field. Number 81, Billy Griggs. Ball now on the 16-yard line. Can you tell this is a must-win situation for the Jets?
Going all out, and that one worked. McNeil with that great change of pace move. Dipping the shoulder and turning in.
That was the longest run of Page's NFL career, and the 3rd time he's run from punt formation for the New York Jets. Good solid play. Nothing can really go wrong with that one as long as the quarterback or the center makes a good snap.
Second down and 6 now for the Jets. 11-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. McNeil, free ball. Cleveland has the football at the Jet 9. So McNeil coughs it up twice. The first time his teammate got it back not that long ago when Hector recovered the fumble. And now the Jets threatening to go in and break a 10-10 time, and McNeil loses the ball again, and Cleveland gets it.
Frank Minifield on the recovery. Now watch Freeman McNeil when he sets his foot to turn upfield. It looks like he never really has a hold of the football. Catches it cleanly, spinning around. Nobody hits him. Just bounces right out of his hands. Minifield on the recovery. Drive stopped. Browns have the ball. Look at it. Just bounced right out of his hands.
Yeah.
I think that's a catch, too, don't you? No question about it.
He had it, yeah. So now the Cleveland Browns in this 10-10 game have the ball at their 16-yard line. Kevin Mack doesn't get much as the Jet defense looks to force a turnover that way. And there's going to be more in this cold weather. Marty Lyons made the hit.
Minifield looks hurt on the sideline. Oh, he appears to be in real pain, Don.
He's been an excellent player for the Cleveland Browns, an undersized cornerback. They keep trying to beat long, but he has great jumping ability. But he won't be jumping for a while, it doesn't appear.
Looks like his elbow is bothering him.
Bernie Kosar with a 2nd and 10 play arising. Brennan out to the 25, falls ahead, and it looks like he might have the first down. Had to get out to the 26-yard line. It appears he did. Kerry Glenn, covering on the corner, made the stop.
Kerry Glenn made the stop.
That's the head of Frank Minifield on the sideline. I can't imagine what would have happened to him, but it looks like he's... Yeah, see, the doctor, it's his elbow. It's his elbow.
1st and 10, the 26.
Cleveland Browns have practiced in weather much colder than this all week in Ohio. That they had to go indoors, I think, one day. It was so bad.
2 days.
2 days they were in there. 8:24 to go in the first half. The game's tied 10-10.
Fumble
Talk about turnovers. There's another, but the Browns get it back. Here is a fumble, but the Browns keep it.
Made by Joe Klecko.
Joe Klecko almost on the ball. Kevin Mack got it.
He almost took the handoff from the quarterback. When he sits offset like that, look at it. That time he was right. He knocks Bernie Kosar to the ground, disrupts the the point of exchange and almost comes up with the turnover.
Just got a report from Foxborough that Craig James of the Patriots fumbled. We'll bring that up to date. Bengals didn't score, but they do have the ball deep in the Patriot end. Trailing 10-6. Here's a handoff and a stick at the line. 9 at the 20-yard line. Klecko beats the center. In the AFC East, a big day, and it's still a 10-6 game for the Patriots leading the Cincinnati Bengals. But Cincinnati right now is on the Patriot 28-yard line as a rookie linebacker, Zanders, recovered the James fumble, ran it back. So the Bengals, despite being out of the playoff picture, are standing tall and hanging right in with the Bengals. Now with the Patriots, as are the Cleveland Browns with the Jets here today. This game is tied 10-10.
Jets now beginning to control the defensive line of scrimmage here, Don.
Jet pass rushers like this, 3rd and long, teed off and ready to come. And so Bernie Kosar goes to the run. Biner doesn't get much. Gary Hamilton, a free safety from Penn State, came up to make the play. There's Coach Parcells of the Giants, his team in the playoffs. It looked good yesterday.
I'll bet he gets in here free. Doesn't have to ask anybody for a ticket, does he?
So, you know, to watch game film and said, the heck with that.
Yeah.
Got a live one out here.
You're right.
Jeff Gossett ready to punt the ball now for Cleveland. Hits it low, but well downfield. And Kurt Sohn takes it. And a superior special teams play by Larry Brazil. And knocked down at the 34-yard line. A 44-yard punt. And the Jets get it back when we come back to Giant Stadium.
If you visit...
Bad news for Bronco followers, good news for Patriot fans. New England has just scored on a Tony Collins run after Ronnie Lippett intercepted. The Bengals didn't capitalize on that fumble in return. The Patriots have now extended their lead over Cincinnati to 17-6 in the second quarter. This game is tied between the Jets and the Browns, 10-10. O'Brien, way off target. Curtis Weathers was there to headhunt if Freeman McNeil got the ball.
Bob Golick right in the front of Ken O'Brien's face. Frank Minifield is back on the field for the Cleveland Browns. He has a big pad on his elbow. And look at the way that thing is kind of hanging from his side. He was flexing his hand. He's playing one-armed right now, trying to fight through the pain of whatever that elbow injury is. And with the amount of bump and run that the Cleveland Brown cornerbacks use, he needs both arms.
He's got 2 wide receivers to the right, Wesley Walker to the left. Incomplete at the 48-yard line, throwing to Wesley Walker, and Carl Hairston almost had another sack of Ken O'Brien. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. O'Brien, big numbers. He doesn't throw interceptions. That's really the big reason it's catapulted him to the top of the quarterback ratings, but he does take sacks.
Oh, he has paid a price, though.
That's the man who coaches him.
They got to put some extra pads on the seat of his pants because he's seen this turf a lot.
You pointed out about that bad elbow. It's been a problem. Zeke Bratkowski, quarterback coach for the Jets. 3rd and 10. Bryan gets it away with people on his back, but the Brown zone defense closes and doesn't give first down yardage to Al Toon. They've been shutting Toon out. That's his first catch.
Hairston once again with the pressure, only this time he's on Marvin Powell. Hairston having an all-pro day. They moved him to the other side. Watch the far side of the offense. Marvin Powell on Hairston. Hairston just pushes him right back in the quarterback. Apparently not in the grasp, but not enough for a first down either.
Dave Jennings is in to punt again now for the Jets with 5:30 to play in the first half and the clock running. Brian Brennan, you recall the last punt attempt by the Jets wasn't one at all. It was a snap to the up back Tony Page, who ran for 21 yards and a first down. Time Jennings ready to hit it. Brian Brennan, who's already returned a punt for a touchdown today, fair catch this one at the 15-yard line.
Smart. Very smart.
So with 5:10 to go in the first half, the score remains 10-10.
If you take...
There might have been some question how hard the Cleveland Browns would play this game when they won the AFC Central title yesterday. They were flying in an airplane. Browns came here to win.
Yeah, Don, talk is cheap. Marty Schottenheimer said this team wants to go to the Super Bowl. We're here today to win. At this point in the game, they've proven it.
And right now, it is Cleveland's ball at the 15-yard line. Just across it, Kosar quarterback. Mack cutting back and running right into a hit in center of the gun, and Kyle Clifton, the inside linebacker from TCU. Jets number 2 tackler Marty Schottenheimer preached all week. We want this game. We want a winning record. And as he told you, Trump, the object isn't just the playoffs, it's to take the whole thing.
Absolutely. From behind Kevin Mack in the offense, Jets now in about the last 6 or 8 minutes have really begun to control the line of scrimmage. Look at it, Mel and Clifton squared up right there to meet Kevin Mack. They got to do a little throwing here to take some pressure off the line of scrimmage, in my estimation, Don.
Bernie Kosar has thrown just 6 times. He's completed 2 for 34 yards. Second down and 10 coming up for Kosar. Spread out with Lyons in pursuit. Low percentage throw, but he got it there, put it in. Now they rule he's out of bounds. No, they don't at all. They rule it a completion from him.
Well, I don't understand the signal by the official there. He waved the safe sign and then gave him the completion. You can see that Newsome, one of the most outstanding receivers you'll ever find in the game, with Lester Lyles right on him. Lots of contact. That's a catch. That's a good catch. Good call by the official. And that takes a little pressure off the line of scrimmage for the Cleveland Browns. Ahmad Rashad did a story on Ozzie Newsome to start the broadcast. Oh, is this guy a keeper? He really is. So is that kid.
Game tied, 10-10. Browns are already in as AFC Central champions. This game a strong bearing now on the playoff picture for the Jets and Denver. Kosar, free ball. Jets have it. 13-yard line of Cleveland. Bob Crable got it. Gastineau made the hit, and Crable got the free ball. And so the Jets make the big play on defense and now give their offense a chance to challenge for the go-ahead score.
First sack by the New York Jets. You can see the inexperience of Bernie Kosar. You got to put up with this a little bit. Klecko 73 gets there in his face, and then he starts to shuffle around. Gastineau makes the hit, ball loose. Crable on the recovery. And from another angle, you can see they keep the backs in to try to help with pass protection. Gastineau, big inside pass rush, and the turnover.
Watch McNeil going wide. First down and 10 now for the Jets. Going to throw the ball. McNeil running a deep pattern. He goes over the middle and gets Altoon, who's not done yet. He's inside the 10 and down to the 6-yard line. The Tune cry. He started slow, missed training camp in a contract holdout, this #1 draft choice in Wisconsin, and he's been a standout since he's reported.
7 yards on the reception. Eddie Johnson on the tackle. Big kid. Very fluid receiver. Hang on to that football, though, Al. Don't carry it like a loaf of bread. Get it up under your arm. Ball's kind of slick today.
We've seen some footballs on the field today. The last by the Cleveland Browns gives the Jets a chance to break the tie. Here goes McNeil, and he's down to the 3-yard line. Bob Golick, 275-pound nose tackle, made the stop. Interesting, Trump, the different way that Golick operates at nose tackle and his counterpart Klecko does. They're both going to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Bob Golick is kind of a root hog. He gets down there and fights pressure from the center. There are a lot of snaps where for a couple of seconds Bob Golick is blind, has no idea where the ball is going. He just fights pressure. And on the other hand, Klecko plays like an usher. He's standing up there watching in the defensive backfield. Both outstanding players.
Golick is great at grabbing the center's shirt and using his weight against him. He was an All-American wrestler at Notre Dame. On third down, Johnny Hector turns the corner, and he goes in, and the Jets break the tie. Standing salute at Giant Stadium as the Jets go in front 16-10. Fifth touchdown of this season for Johnny Hector as Pat Leahy comes out now to try the point after. Wasn't pretty, but it was good as he ripped the knuckleball through the uprights. And with 2:42 to play in the first half, the Jets now have a 17-10 lead.
This is the Jets' power backfield. Tony Page, 49, lead block on Chip Banks. And that gives Johnny Hector just enough room and space to get out there. Crosses the inline. Well-conceived play. You'll see a good pull by the offensive line of the New York Jets.
Here's some NFL updates. In the second quarter,
Yes, sir.
New England 17.
And Joe Walton, that's it. Yes, sir. I like that.
First.
Takes a little bit of the pressure off.
That was really, in a large sense, a defense touchdown. Gastineau forced the fumble. Crable recovered it, and subsequently Johnny Hector's in the end zone on that 5-yard run to break the tie at 17-10 Jets.
Ron, as we were talking before the game with Marty Schottenheimer, I said, what's the key? And he says, if we don't turn the ball over, we'll win. Well, they have turned the ball over.
They sure haven't lost yet. Browns, a hang-tough team. They jumped out to a 4-2 record, then had some heartbreaking losses in the closing seconds to the Raiders and the Steelers and lost 4 straight games. They've come back to win their division, and the Browns will start this drive from their 20. The AFC East report continues. New England has now extended its lead over Cincinnati to 20-6 with a field goal. Miami continues to lead Buffalo 14-0 at the Orange Bowl. And the Jets leading here 17-10. These scores should hold, and there's going to be a lot of changing if the outcome should remain as the leaders stand. It would be the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots, 3 AFC Eastern teams going to the playoffs. Miami is Eastern champions.
Now we mentioned turnovers. The 2 turnovers today by the Cleveland Browns have resulted in 10 of the 17 points scored by the New York Jets. Field goal and a touchdown.
Bernie Kosar, the quarterback, had he not come out early, would be a senior at Miami this year. Getty's quarterbacking a divisional champion team. Kevin Mack doesn't get much, and those Jets are hunting the football. Gastineau with another big strike, and also Kerry Glenn came up.
Now, one of the things that you got to like about the Jet defense is the guy, not the players on the field, but the guy standing on the sideline, Bud Carson. This is Mark Gastineau coming from behind the play to assist on the tackle, along with Jackson, Glenn, Kyle Clifton. Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator, one of the best defensive coaches I know in the league at making those slight adjustments to stop your offense. There he is. He's one of the mad magicians with defense in the NFL.
His defense is the best in the American Conference at stopping the run. Cleveland's the second best. Browns have run well, though, today against the Jets. We'll be back. When we go to NFL 85 at halftime, among the features will be an interview with Jim Hannafin, who coached you, didn't he, Trump, out of Utah?
University of Utah. Terrific
One of the
guy.
great people in the game.
Absolutely.
Not in the game right now. He's fired. It won't be long before he's back, though.
I agree. Looking for work somewhere.
Second down and 10. The Cleveland Browns are trailing 17-10. Brennan gets the ball. Looking for room. Not much there. The Jets run him out of bounds. That fumble, recovery, and subsequent touchdown inspired the whole Jet team.
Driven out of bounds by Harry Hamilton.
Now look at the difference in the rushing numbers first quarter to second quarter. I mentioned the adjustment that Bud Carson and his defense for the Jets had made. And this is a game of adjustments. It takes execution, but it also takes adjustments. The team that adjusts the best seems to win. Jets have done an excellent job defensively.
This has been a big year for Coach Joe Walton after consecutive 7 and 9 seasons as head coach of the Jets. Third down and 4 now for Cleveland. Browns trail by 7. Kosar in trouble, and he's sacked at the 19-yard line. Marty Lyons was in there. Gastineau was coming from the other side. Jets putting the heat on, and they get Bernie Kosar, and Cleveland has to punt it.
It's just a lack of experience on Bernie Kosar. You'll see it once he starts getting pressure. We'll watch Lyons from the outside. Watch Bernie Kosar put his head down. He realized, see when he puts his head down? And then nothing can happen but a sack. You got to keep your head up. Look for those receivers as best you possibly can.
And so, with 1:42 to play in the first half, we'll be back. Coach Marty Schottenheimer with a lot to be proud of in his first year as head coach of the Cleveland Browns after taking over at midseason a year ago. His team in the playoffs is AFC Central champion. Right now, trailing the Jets 17-10 as Kurt Sohn is back again to return a punt. Gossett back inside his 5-yard line for Cleveland. Not much on it. It'll take a Cleveland hop, though. Here comes Sohn. Down to the Browns' 45-yard line. 41-yard punt, a 15-yard return with 1:31 to play in the first half. The boys start up after the whistle.
You'd think after 15 football games, they'd be worn out, save their strength for the play as opposed to the extracurricular activity.
41-yard kick.
Marty Schottenheimer wasn't just shooting to get in the playoffs. He wants the whole thing. He wants to go to New Orleans.
This is a hard-nosed football team. There's Biner coming in, pushing Glygen, and Glygen doesn't like it. Come on, guys, save your strength.
Jets might be looking to go for some more now as they go into an open formation. One back. Extra tight end. And O'Brien is looking down. Oh. Freeman starting to run before he had the ball. Chip Banks was coming on a blitz, and he got O'Brien just as he released the ball with 1:26 to play in the first half.
I wonder what that feels like. You're a quarterback. You got to try to get the ball off, and you're staring right into the face mask of one of the hardest hitters there is in the game. I guess it's like standing out in the middle of rush hour traffic, right?
Hey, Banks has had a great year. 11 sacks. He'll start in the Pro Bowl for a third time. He's been in the league 4 years. Draw to Freeman McNeil, and he's down to the 44-yard line. Fans are quick to change as they start to boo the play call, but the Jets with a 7-point lead running the clock, and again they go into alignment without the huddle. Altoon going deep. Ball to Altoon. It's intercepted by Cleveland. Ball picked off by Hanford Dixon, and he's back across the 35-yard line to the 37.
I'll tell you what, though, go back to the line of scrimmage. Carl Hairston absolutely hammered Ken O'Brien. Once again on Reggie McElroy. Banker hurt. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. 78 on 68. O'Brien realized he's got it. Oh, my goodness. I mean, that's a... They call that a rusty gate. Just swing it open and let him go on the quarterback. And you can
Matador pass block and wave him on through.
And you can see what O'Brien has to do. He's got to throw it no matter where it goes. And Hanford Dixon comes up with the interception.
Our producer today for NBC Sports is David Neal. Our director, Bob Levy. 1 minute to go in the first half as Kosar steps right up in the shotgun on 1st and 10 from his 37. Biner. Terry Glenn, a rookie from Minnesota, gets him.
Another fight.
Browns keep reinforcing they do indeed want this game, despite having already won their division.
Cody Rison and Marty Lyons now going at it. Thank God we got halftime.
Halftime will be going to Bob Costas, Pete Axthelm at NFL 85 in New York, Ahmad Rashad here at Giant Stadium. An update on what's happening in the East. Right now, all 3 contenders for those final 3 undecided playoff spots in the American Conference are winning. New England is way ahead of Cincinnati. The Jets are up over Cleveland here, 17-10. And Miami's leading Buffalo 14-0. Not good news for the Denver Broncos. But it's not over yet as Bernie Kosar fires on the run, and too much on it for Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzie's been rather quiet today, just 1 reception. It was a very important one. But the first idea for the Cleveland Browns, run that ball any way and every way they possibly can. Plays come in from the sideline. Kosar to the huddle. Gentlemen, hang on to the football.
Now the Browns set it up with just 28 seconds to play in the first half, and the Jets in the lead 17-10. That almost went the other way, but it was caught. Herman Fontenot comes up with the ball and crosses midfield down to the Jet 45-yard line, and he gets out of bounds.
17 yards on the catch. Davlin Mullen almost goes the other way with it. You got to suffer with a lot of things with a young quarterback. One of the things that young quarterbacks do is they lock onto a receiver. Now, Bernie looks out here. He's going out here to Fontenot all the way. Davlin Mullen reads his eyes and almost makes the interception. That's 6 points.
In a game, Trump remarkably free of yellow flags. Officials letting him go as this game has heated up in the cold of the Meadowlands. Kosar with Gastineau in pursuit. Free ball. Is it a fumble? It's an incomplete pass. The referee, Dick Jorgensen, right there, signaling his hand was in forward progress, and so the clock is stopped with 17 seconds.
Went around Ricky Bolden, number 77. Gastineau is unique in that he can bull rush you, that is, run right over you, or he can go around you. You know, a lot of people that don't like a lot of what Mark Gastineau does, but the New York Jets like what he does.
Hey, Trump, a lot of people like what he does off the field. He's involved in a lot of charities. They roasted him not long ago. One of his teammates, Stan Waldemore, said Mark was once asked to spell Mississippi, and he said, "What do you mean, the river or the state?" We don't want to say he's cheap, but he opened his wallet, took out a $5 bill, and Abe Lincoln was blinking from the light. Kosar fires up the field, and Brian Brennan takes it down to the 36-yard line. As you see, the game clock ticks down 10 seconds, and it's stopped. A 9-yard pickup. Bernie Kosar remembers the Orange Bowl so well. That magic night for Miami of Florida, when Kosar and the Miami Hurricanes came out and upset mighty Nebraska for the national championship. And this year again, or actually January 1 of 1986, NBC Sports will be there as the national championship is again on the line at the Orange Bowl when number 1 Penn State goes against number 2 Oklahoma. It's a big day, all day on NBC Sports, January 1st, including the Fiesta Bowl. Top matchup there. Tom Osborne and his Nebraska Cornhuskers heading to the Fiesta Bowl to pay the Bo Schembechler Michigan Wolverines. Then it's on to Pasadena for the 72nd Rose Bowl. Pac-10 champions UCLA Bruins under Terry Donahue going against the Iowa Hawkeyes, who have had a great year under Hayden Fry. And then it's on to the national championship game at the Orange Bowl, January 1, all here on NBC Sports. Bernie Kosar, what did he say yesterday, Trump? I've never won a championship flying in a plane before.
Yeah, unique experience. There's also a theory written in Cleveland this week that Bernie Kosar is too tall to be a championship quarterback. Does that mean he has to give his national championship back? I don't think so.
I think not. Here is the halftime now at Foxborough. Patriots leading Cincinnati 20-6. And at halftime, Miami leading Buffalo 14-0. The Jets are leading here 17-10. Kosar hit the 25-yard line. That was all that was near the ball as the rush was on again. Marty Lyons popped Bernie Kosar just as he released it. Gastineau coming hard again, and that Klecko up the middle explodes into an offense at the snap of a ball.
You can see the nervous feet, too, by Bernie Kosar. He can sense the pressure coming and watch what happens. Once a quarterback's feet start to move around like that, can't throw the football. He's looking for desperation, does a good job to get it away.
4th and 1 from the 36.
And it's still a little too far for a field goal attempt. Whoops, excuse me, Marty Lyons to Bernie Kosar.
Matt Barr is super accurate inside the 30, but not from long range, and they don't want to risk it here. So with 4 seconds left, the Browns call a timeout. 4th down coming up in 2. It would be a 54-yard field goal.
This is where you want to go to the sideline and say, Coach, what do you want here? You call the play.
Jets aren't giving them much defense. Surely they'll have everybody back in the zone here.
Yeah, the most impressive part of this second quarter has been the Jets' ability to shut down the running game of the Cleveland Browns.
Both these teams excellent at stopping the run. Jets are number 1 in the American Conference. They allow just 91 yards a game rushing, and they're the best team in the American Conference are the Jets at running the ball, and Cleveland second. Cleveland wasn't at all anxious about coming to Giant Stadium. They've had some success here already this season. Earlier this month, they came in to play the Giants in an interconference game. December 1 was the date. A field goal at the end by Eric Schubert of the Giants was wide, and the Cleveland Browns came away with a 35-33 win.
Obviously, they like playing here in the Meadowlands. Good memories always helps a team.
Giants won their way into the NFC Wild Card playoffs yesterday. Very impressive performance, beating the Steelers. One was over in the first half as Kosar in the final play of the half loops it into the end zone. Lots of people there. And it bounces incomplete at the goal line, and we're to halftime. Reggie Langhorne went up, couldn't come down with it. So the Jets, with some superior defense in the first half, after falling behind on the punt return by Brian Brennan, come back to take a 17-10 lead over the Browns at halftime. NFL 85 is coming up next here on NBC Sports. Kosar might be throwing more long balls in the second half.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, they got to come out once again.
Ted Banker is out with a fractured fibula, fractured leg. So Reggie's got to go the whole way. He's had his problems the last 2 games pass blocking. Certainly today. I don't know if anybody can hold Chip Banks out when he comes. McElroy hasn't held anybody out. Kickoff downfield, and Humphrey runs it back for the Jets, and he's out. Not done till he crosses the 35. All the standout kick returners, you think you got him, but you realize you don't when they shoot another 15 yards downfield. The 36-yard return by Humphrey, who led the NFL in that department a year ago.
That's a first half of 2 personalities, wouldn't you say?
2 best rushing teams in the American Conference, and the Jets allow only 91 yards a game rushing. O'Brien has put it up 14 times, has completed 7 for 82 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Quarterback in the draft of '83 that the fans didn't know, but the scouts surely did. Came into this game as the NFL's leading passer, and on the run, the Jets take it out to their 46-yard line on a first down carry.
Jets leading 17-10 can basically go back to the original idea they had in this football game, Don. Whatever they thought would work last Wednesday, at halftime they got to feel will still work if Reggie McElroy can have a little bit of pass protection for Ken O'Brien.
Mickey Schuler was the guy they figured heavily in their game plan, but he's not been getting the ball. They've been covering Mickey Schuler and Al Toon very well, the Cleveland defenders. Cousineau makes the stop on this play. Freeman McNeil gets a 2nd consecutive call. Jets 17-10. If the Washington Redskins today could beat the 49ers, 3 teams from the NFC East would go to the playoffs. If Dallas, can beat the 49ers, then Washington would go. Washington, the Giants will also be in. Watch with the Cowboys.
Watch this lead block by Tony Page.
Schuler gets an open field ball. Mickey Schuler, who came into the game leading the Jets with 70 receptions, 7 for touchdowns, is ahead for a first down to the 36-yard line of Cleveland. 18-yard gain on the play.
O'Brien this time had plenty of time to throw the football. Tony Page in the backfield. Look at his 49, picks up Chip Banks. O'Brien stands in there. Schuler a good reception. He's now at 72, 3 short of George Sauer Jr.'s team record of 75.
Jets leading 17-10. Day turning colder. Bryan sending 4 people deep, but swings it out. Rocky Cleaver, another tight end, bangs down to the 27-yard line, takes on Cousineau, but gets ahead for yet another Jet first down.
We talked about him, pointed a finger at him at halftime, so let's see how Reggie McElroy is doing.
And the spot is just short of the first down.
He's playing that offensive left tackle on Hairston. This time McElroy does an excellent job. Good coverage downfield. O'Brien goes to the outlet receiver. Cleaver just short of the first down marker.
Down to the 25-yard line, and the Jets, the pressure builds. They go on to win this game. It would be 10 victories, and 10 victories in a single season is a standout year for any NFL team, but all the effort and all the wins could turn to ashes today unless the Jets beat Cleveland, because New England is beating Cincinnati and Miami is shutting out Buffalo, although Bengals just got closer. Toon comes out wide to the right with Walker on the left flank. We're putting some hits on Ken O'Brien. Carl Hairston came in, wired in a trade with the Eagles.
Maybe it's not so much McElroy as Hairston. That time, I think Hairston lined up on this side. Pressure all over the place. Ken O'Brien is up very slow. Inside this time. It's a screen set up. Hairston drills him right in the chest, and Ken O'Brien is very, very slow getting up. He's had a heck of a day, Carl Hairston.
Half empty or half full. What kind of a day has McElroy had?
Yeah, really. Well, that time the Jets were faking a screen. You could see Sweeney, the left guard, release. Watch what happens up in front of him, Don. Up in front of O'Brien. Watch the offensive. Well, you can't really see the offensive lineman, but just as he lets this go, Hairston right in the ribs of Ken O'Brien. O'Brien has really paid a price this 1985 season.
Pat Ryan comes in now, and they'd hope not to have to use him. He's had concussions the last 2 games for the Jets that he's played in. Pat Ryan comes out. He's a gamer out of Tennessee.
He's got to take a glove off, though, Don. He's out there with 2 gloves on.
We've never seen a QB yet, have we? Did he play with the scuba gloves on?
No, but he's got golf gloves. Look at him. He's still got his gloves on.
Yep, he's going to go with them.
Cleveland knows he's not going to throw the ball.
He'll probably put it in the end zone on first down. Actually, 2nd and 10 coming up. Must feel he can throw with him. Freeman McNeil eludes the tackler in the backfield, and then the Cleveland Browns come in. Marker goes down at the line of scrimmage on a 2nd down and 10 play. Golick on the tackle. Cousineau also coming across.
It's going to be on the defense.
That's a good report we just got that Ken O'Brien had the wind knocked out of him. He'll be back, plays with the flak jacket.
Well,
won't be here long without one, will you?
Pat Ryan realized that he was in for one play and it was a handoff, so he didn't need to take the gloves off.
Cleveland objective defensively was to put the heat on O'Brien all day long, try to get to him as other teams had. Getting into the game with 59 sacks. He's been sacked 3 times today. It's a lot of hits. Browns offside, so it'll be 2nd down and 5 now for the Jets. Hector. Schottenheimer said before the game that Freeman McNeil is known to be a great one. He said what people don't realize is that Hector isn't far behind.
Both very shifty running backs. Now what they do is they allow the pass rush of the Cleveland Browns to come upfield, take advantage of that very aggressive front 3 of the Cleveland Browns and run Hector through their good blocks up front. Nice gain for a first down. This is an impressive drive by the Jets to start the second half.
Yes, it is. 10:45 in the clock running in the 3rd quarter. Jets are in the lead 17-10. McNeil to the 9-yard line. He got close to 5 on a first down carry. Inside linebacker Eddie Johnson, the leading tackler for the Browns, make the hit.
Tony Page really leveled Tom Cousineau. He was the lead blocker. Nailed him right at the hole. Got Cousineau on the ground. Page is one of the best blocking backs I think I've ever seen in this game. He's just fearless going into the line of scrimmage.
McNeil, Trump, averaging over 5 yards a run this season, but averaging just about 3 yards a run today. Cleveland is looking for 24. Close with 9:58 to go in the 3rd quarter. Toon went up. Hanford Dixon defended.
That's great coverage by Dixon. Trying to take advantage of Al Toon's height. That sideline comes into play whenever a defensive back is covering a receiver in the end zone. First foot out of bounds, therefore no catch. That's great coverage.
Now the tough yards as the Jets come out. 3rd down and a long 6 for a first down. 3rd and 9 for a touchdown. Ryan throws. Toon with a sensational catch us down to the goal line. It's a first down at least. No touchdown signal.
Whoa!
John Rogers, a knockout hitter, made the pop for Cleveland. 11-yard gain down to the 1. Inside the 1.
Oh, it looked like he was picking an apple on that one, Don. One-handed. He just plucked that one out of the air. Watch this. Yes, sir. Stuck right to his hand. Boy, it looked like he had Velcro on those gloves. And then he gets popped, but it's a first down and goal for the Jets.
Johnny Hector, who goes over the top oftentimes on short yardage, and power back Tony Page in the backfield. He can bullet in. Hector over the top. He's in. Touchdown Jets. They extend their lead to 23-10.
Not much celebration on the Jets bench. It's what they expected. Opening drive of the second half. Start at their own 41-yard line. Big catch by Al Toon. Hector takes it in. That's an impressive drive. To open any half, that helps.
Jet offense hitting hard off the ball with the offensive blocking, and now the extra point is up and good by Pat Leahy. So the Jets go 11 plays, 59 yards. They used up 550. There's a marker down the extra point attempt.
Look at the bow they put in that Cleveland defensive line. Excellent job by the front. Alexander, Fields, Sweeney, Powell, and Reggie McElroy.
Johnny Hector's had only 4 carries today, but on 2 of them he's been in the end zone. And the Jets now have a 24-10 lead.
Personal foul.
Foul signal.
Go to the head. 95 on the offensive team after the play was over. 15-yard penalty on the kickoff.
So that means he'll kick it off from the 20.
Tom Baldwin, I think, was called for the personal foul. 95. With 9:10 to go in the third quarter, and the Jets in the lead 24-10. They led at halftime 17-10. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy on a cold day at Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands of New Jersey.
That's an expensive penalty. 15 yards on the kickoff, takes it back to the 20. Brown's certainly going to get great field position here.
Pat Leahy's been a big part of the Jets' success this year, their place kicker. Marty Schottenheimer, coach of the Cleveland Browns, secure in the knowledge that his team is already AFC Central champion. But he wanted badly to have a winning record, and right now the Browns are down by 14 with a lot of time left. Herman Fontenot will be the deep man now for the Cleveland Browns. He's standing at his 20. Not that deep, as the kickoff is from the Jets' 20. Little train Lionel James of San Diego, the smallest player in the National Football League, the shortest, today broke Terry Metcalf's all-purpose yardage record. Established 10 years ago with the St. Louis Cardinals, Lionel James has just short of 2,500 yards this year as a swift kick downfield is picked up. Dave Pizzoli brings it ahead to the 49-yard line and might have gotten across midfield where they spot the ball, so the Browns have excellent field position. Lester Lyles again on special teams play for the Jets.
Lester Lyles made the stop.
Well, let's see how the Cleveland Browns do in their opening drive of the second half. Jets, very commendable drive. 5 minutes and 50 seconds consumed in that 11-play drive. That's nice.
Not a lot of passing yards, though, today, Trump, for the Cleveland Browns. Just 71 for Bernie Kosar. He's going to be throwing more now with the Browns down by 14. First down, the give is to Kevin Mack, who's been shut down of late. As we pause briefly for station identification, this is the NBC television network. At Giant Stadium in New Jersey, this is Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Clock running, 8:40 to play in the third quarter. The New York Jets, quite possibly en route to winning their way into the AFC playoffs as a wild card team, holding to a 14-point lead over the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have the ball now, second down and 8. Biner. Bob Trable came up to hit him.
Not on the previous play, you can see what the Jets are trying to do. At the last second, one of their linebackers is calling a signal, and everyone is shifting on the defensive line. basically what you're trying to do to the Cleveland Browns offense. There's Bud Carson. He's the mad professor out there with that defense. What he's trying to do is just, at the last second, make the offensive line of the Cleveland Browns think for a minute as to who they have to block. Therefore, Browns haven't run the ball well.
Third down and a long, actually about 5 here for the first down. Osar swings it out. Viner catches it and loses it. Viner, who missed the reception, is 33 yards short of a 1,000-yard rushing season. He's up to 967 now with 66 today on 11 carries.
Kirk Springs on the tackle. Now, I think Viner was the primary receiver. You see Kosar look out there all the way. It's thrown a little bit behind him. That's the toughest pass in the game to throw. You got to keep the running back heading upfield or it doesn't work. Bernie couldn't that time.
Gary Danielson wearing the baseball cap. He has a badly injured throwing shoulder, is in uniform, but I doubt he can throw the ball if he's called on. Look at this. Gossett's going to pass the ball, but he needs a receiver running along. Cannon is Langhorne. He can't get to it down at the 7-yard line. A long out, and the Jets take over an excellent field position at their 45-yard line when we come back.
Coverage on the play by Carl Howard.
26 to go in the third quarter. Jets have the ball, and as you see, a 24-10 lead. O'Brien on first down. Schuler. They head for 7 to the 48-yard line.
7-yard pickup. Don, I want to go back to that last play. Watch the motion here by the Cleveland Browns from punt formation. Now, if you're going to do something fancy, that's the best way to alert the defense that something strange may be happening. And the punter Newsom is looking all over the place for somebody to throw it to. Nobody.
Second down and 3 coming up now for the Jets. 48-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. Bryan's 21st throw of the day, complete to Nicky Schuler for a first down. He's not done till he's down inside the 35 to the 31-yard line. Don Rogers ran him out of bounds, but it wasn't easy to get this big Penn Stater.
Tell you what, beginning of this season, this New York Jet team could not have done without this guy. They had all the receivers hurt. Walker was out. Lamb Jones still out. Schuler got all kinds of business from Ken O'Brien. And it's interesting that when you have a great rushing team, tight ends catch a lot of passes. Both Newsom and Schuler, 2 of the best in the game.
He's got 73 for the year, has Nicky Schuler. Jets driving again with a 14-point lead. Raymond McNeil hemmed in and somehow loses a tackler and gets back for a gain of a yard. Caught in the backfield.
Stopped by Eddie Johnson.
The scoreboard in the AFC East, New England holding to the 7-point lead over Cincinnati in the fourth quarter at Foxborough. And in the third quarter, Miami continues to lead the Buffalo Bills 14-0.
That is in Miami, right?
That's at the Orange Bowl. Raymond McNeil has run the ball a lot, 17 carries, 49 yards. Gastineau 99 there. Might be the most valuable Jet today.
Played hard. So is Klecko.
He recovered a fumble, forced another that led to a touchdown. Second down and 10 Jets. McNeil. Only great in the open field. He's down to the 13-yard line for a Jet first down. An 18-yard play. Don Rogers finally got him.
Down there, I think you can see the difference between Kosar attempting that pass to Biner on Cleveland's last possession and Ken O'Brien hitting Freeman McNeil right in stride. Shoulders upfield. He's got his momentum going, and he heads straight ahead for a good pickup. Look at it. It's good power back when he has to be. Got up limping a little bit. Big pickup by the Jets.
Tony Page, 49. Lines in the back of the field with Freeman McNeil on first down Jets. McNeil, big block by Page, and McNeil's down to the 8-yard line. Well, that Tony Page cleans him out. 5'10", 230.
Freeman should give him part of his Pro Bowl check. I tell you, Page will park anybody you put out there. I don't care how big they are. Curtis Weathers on the ground. He's injured for the Cleveland Browns. That guy right there. If the Pro Bowl ever has a designated lead blocker category, he's my candidate.
You can find the end zone, too. He's been in the end zone 7 times this year, Tony Page. Curtis Weathers still isn't over that last hit he put on him. We'll be back to Giant Stadium in a moment. And the Barbarian lookalike, Trump, and he plays with a vengeance.
Yeah, you're right. He can really give offensive linemen nightmares.
24-10 is the count. The Jets are in the lead, looking to put the KO punch on the Cleveland Browns. That net play, though, as Freeman McNeil is taken down in the backfield by Scott Nicholas.
Freeman McNeil is stopped.
Loss of 7 yards on the play.
I tell you, the Cleveland Browns have got some linebackers. Curtis Weathers gets hurt. He's replacing Clay Matthews. Scott Nicholas comes in once again. Browns going with that outside linebacker blitz. This is a loss of 7 yards by Freeman McNeil. Nicholas, a very sure tackle right there, gets him on the ground.
Bob Golick, the standout nose tackle for the Cleveland Browns, 79, was involved, was originally drafted by New England, got in a big fight, did the Browns and the Patriots in an earlier meeting this year at Cleveland. Golick, like every time I went to hit somebody, was a friend of mine from my days at New England. Here's a fumbled snap by O'Brien. He does get it, and he's down to the 18-yard line.
Now, this is a strange thing. Joe Fields is a Pro Bowl caliber center. That's the 12th fumble that Ken O'Brien has had this year. Let's see if we can see what happens. All right. It just bounces right out of Ken O'Brien's hand. He's got that left thumb tape. Never really gets a hold of it. Oh, no, not again. Leahy in for the field goal.
Be about a 35-yard field goal attempt for Pat Leahy. He's hit 24 of 32 this year. Hit one earlier today. Standout year for Pat Leahy continues. The arcs one through. And the Jets open up a commanding 27-10 lead with 3:27 to play in the third quarter. Command by 17 points. It's going to be a tough year for somebody, Trump. There's going to be 11-5 team play probably, not in the playoffs for the first time ever.
Yeah, it looks like the Denver Broncos are going to hit the shaft again. 1981, they were 10-6, didn't go to the playoffs. That's Dan Reeves' first year. 11-5 this year. They're home for Christmas, if the score remains as it is now.
Best hope for the Broncos to get in would be a Bengal comeback at Foxborough. The Cincinnati team down by 7 at the moment, 20-13 in the fourth quarter. Cleveland down by 17 here, breaks the big one. Running the ball back is Herman Fontenot. And he is out across to the 45-yard line. Interesting how they got Fontenot. Played at LSU, where the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, Marty Schottenheimer's brother, Kurt Schottenheimer, is the linebacker coach. He said, you ought to look at this guy. Get him as a free agent. You might have something. They did. 40-yard return.
Wonder why Bill Arnsparger, the head coach, wouldn't recommend that guy to Don Shula at Miami. Huh?
Actually, it was Schottenheimer's brother. It's a little thicker.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water.
First down and 10 now for Kosar and the Cleveland Browns, down 27-10 late in the third quarter. Brennan gets it. Hit for 8. Had to work hard to get that. Now, while we have a moment, let's go back to NFL 85. Here's Bob Costas. Bob?
Don, for the second time today, Buffalo inside the Miami 10. For the second time today, they come away empty. Matheson's pass intercepted by William Judson, brings it back 27 yards. And Miami maintains the 14-0 lead in the third. Don?
Thank you, Bob. Well, the Bills did show up, and they're playing pretty well.
What was the point spread in that? Lots, huh?
It's big. I think Miami is prohibited, like a 3-touchdown favorite. Kosar, 7 for 17, throwing the ball for 79 yards. Browns gone short yardage, go to the run, and Kevin Mack will be very close to a first down.
These linebackers of the New York Jets, outstanding players as a group, very active. You see Crable 50, Clifton 59, Mel 56. Clifton with an assist on that tackle. Well, sometimes it appears that they got more than 4 linebackers out there. They run the field so well laterally and are great hitters.
NBC statistician Joe Costanza pointing out that the last 2 Jet touchdowns have come after Cleveland failed to convert fourth down tries.
How about that?
Whatever it takes. Browns just 2 of 9 on third down conversions. Here's a 3rd and 1. Kevin Mack got a load of Kyle Clifton. Second-year linebacker who gets better every game. Still hope for the Denver Broncos, where you've just been informed that the Cincinnati Bengals have kicked a field goal. They're back to within 4 of the New England Patriots. And there's still a lot of time remaining. 11 minutes left to play in that game. For your old team, Trump, the Bengals hanging in.
They're not about to give up the best they possibly can. Sam White's promised a good effort. Once again, the Browns going for it on 4th down, Don.
Bulldog Johnny Davis, the up back to block. Big back from Alabama in front of Kevin Biner, who takes it ahead. And Biner's across the 45. And let's see if he got there. I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did too.
Down to the 44, inside the 44. Art Modell, the owner of the Cleveland Browns, and Ernie Accorsi of the Browns front office, they couldn't wait to hear what the Giants did with Pittsburgh yesterday. They flew in early and watched the game.
Sat right here and enjoyed it. Ben Rudolph on the tackle, and it is a first down. I think that's a good spot by the officials. He was knocked back, but it's the forward progress. Joe.
One of the big things about this Cleveland season has been the way this team has rebounded from adversity. After that, we did the game. The L.A. Raiders coming from behind in the final seconds to upset the Browns at Cleveland, 480,000. That set Marty Schottenheimer's team into a 4-game tailspin, a losing streak, and most everybody wrote him off. Schottenheimer never wavered, though. He just told them to keep playing hard every down. It'll happen our way, and it did. They go into the playoffs as AFC Central champion. Heiner on first down takes it to the 42-yard line. Marty Lyons knocked him down.
Tell you another thing about the Cleveland Browns. When Marty Schottenheimer took over this year, actually took over last year, but when this season started, he threw out the playbook, both offensively and defensively, hired 4 new assistant coaches, had 10 new offensive starters, and here they are, AFC Central Division winners.
Schottenheimer as a player was a good linebacker at the University of Pittsburgh. Later played in the American Football League as a backer with the Buffalo Bills. 45 seconds to go now in the third quarter. The second down throw, and Davlin Mullen levels Brian Brennan. 4-yard gain on the play. It brings up third down now for Cleveland.
Interesting that Kosar would choose Brennan to throw the ball to the most. When Brennan was hurt with a bad shoulder, separated shoulder, and Kosar was the backup quarterback in practice, they threw the ball to each other every day, all day long. So when Kosar becomes the starter, Brennan gets a lot of business.
We're talking about Gastineau looking like Conan. David Neal, our producer, just told us that's the Sunday night movie on NBC.
Is it really?
Conan the Barbarian.
Can't wait. Just can't wait.
Third down and 4. And the gun goes at the end of the third quarter. The score is the Jets 27 and the Browns 10. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. An NFL championship team is an undersized but very effective tight end for the New York Giants. Said this is really the start of the playoff season, this final game. You win, you keep playing, you lose, you go home. Jets winning right now 27-10. Oh, Davlin Mullen was almost on his way. Kosar likes Ernest Biner both to hand it off and to go to him.
That's the second time Davlin Mullen almost had a pickoff for the return for a touchdown. Tony Kosar came in with a streak of 114 straight passes without an interception. And if it hadn't been for just some bad hands by some defensive backs from the New York Jets, that streak would have been broken. Now watch the pressure once again. Gastineau this time gets help. Fontenot helps inside. Once again, the Browns are going for it on 4th down, Don.
Playing to win as they said they would. Down 27-10. Kosar on 4th down from the shotgun. Just overthrows Ozzie Newsome. He'd have gone a long way had it been a little bit of a shorter throw. But again, the Browns trying everything they can do to win. Come up empty on a 4th down play, and the Jets take over the ball. Gastineau, number 99, has reason to salute the crowd that salutes him. A big day for the Jet D. Another report from Foxborough, Massachusetts. The Patriots have just scored again, and they now lead Cincinnati 27-16. A 12-yard touchdown run by Craig James of New England. The Bengals are down by 11 late in the fourth quarter. Miami continues to lead Buffalo 14-0. The Jets leading here by 17. So the odds are strong that 3 AFC Eastern teams will go to the playoffs. McNeil taking it straight ahead on first down. The National Football League office says first we review the numbers through 3 quarters.
Those numbers are deceiving because the majority of the rushing yardage for the Cleveland Browns came in the first quarter. Jets in the last 2 quarters and into the fourth now, beginning to assume control.
NFL waiting the results like everyone else of these 3 games this afternoon that decide the AFC, complete that playoff picture, and there'll be an announcement when the AFC wild card game will be played and where toward the end of the 4th quarter. So stay with us as the pitch is out to Kurt Sohn, who's been in the end zone once today. Gain of 12 yards on the play and a Jet first down.
Well, that time O'Brien had good time to throw the football. Got the snap cleanly from the center, and things work well, don't they?
Bears Trump heading to quite possibly a 15-1 season.
Is that being played in the Silverdome?
Yeah.
Detroit's tough there. I'm not surprised that score is very close.
They've only lost 1. The scores stand up as they are now. New England would play at the Jets in the wild card game. Cleveland, after a week off, would go against the Dolphins at Miami. The wild card winner would go against the Raiders. Long ball. Wesley Walker, he's free, but can't hold on at the 4-yard line.
And he ran right by Al Gross.
He was an interested spectator, Al Gross.
Whoa. I mean, I've seen receivers run by defensive backs, but it looked like one was in slow motion and the other one was in fast motion. And the ball, when the ball turns over, Don, it just dies like a curveball going into the ground. Walker beat him like a drum. Watch this thing. He's trying to get back there to get it, but he's got so much speed going forward. Ball just couldn't catch up to him.
Ken O'Brien now 15 for 26, throwing the ball for 175 yards and 1 touchdown. He's been intercepted once. Freeman McNeil with some acrobatics gets the ball and takes off down the sideline, making a lot out of what seemed to be nothing. Eddie Johnson ran him out.
Excellent receiver. Just an outstanding receiver. Not a very big target, but he has good hands. And he has that low center of gravity. Philadelphia beating Minnesota 31-21 in the 3rd quarter.
Interesting see who coaches the Eagles next season as the scoreboard changes. Remind you to stay tuned. The National Football League office will shortly, as these games come close to conclusion, be announcing how the wild card teams will align for next weekend's playoff game. The opener, here's a throw, and ball is taken by Freeman McNeil or by Johnny Hector, and he's down to the 25-yard line. Hector turning back at the ball, got one hand on it. It's another 14-yard gain. And the Jets, who've not been strong offensively in the recent weeks, starting to have a big game in the second half.
On that time, Chip Banks, outside linebacker of the Cleveland Browns, was the blitzer. Hector was the hot receiver. O'Brien was again on the seat of his pants. Chip Banks right in his face, but Hector does make a good reception for another first down.
Browns have done a good job against Al Toon, a deep threat, and they knew the Jets would be going to him. Kurt Sohn in single coverage has come up with some big plays for the Jets.
I don't like those collisions. Curtis Weathers and Kurt Sohn. I don't like to see people get hit like that. That worries me to death.
Kurt Sohn KO'd for the moment, reaching for an incomplete pass.
He sees Weathers just at the last moment and is able to protect himself. Boy, every time I see that, that scares me to death.
Knockout hit, so while they attend to Kurt Sohn, there's a timeout on the clock with 13 minutes to play and the Jets in command.
Today's game is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps. We're looking for a few good men. By the 1986 Volkswagen. It's not a car, it's a Volkswagen. And by Coors and Coors Light. Beers with a difference worth tasting.
Jets ready to go now. 2nd down and 10. Kurt Sohn is up and he's all right. Just stunned by that hard hit by Cleveland defender. The Jets now are down at the Cleveland 26-yard line. Freeman McNeil's going to bring it down a lot closer than that as he's knocked out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Interesting dilemma developing for the National Football League office. We talked about that decision. The wild card games are both scheduled for December 29th, next Sunday. And the Jets and the Giants appear to be the two wild card home teams in the National and American conferences. So there's going to have to be some shifting. That's a tough traffic jam.
Could be crowded.
Stay tuned. Later in this game, the NFL League office will make the announcement who plays where and on what day.
Got a comment. Reggie McElroy just had a great block on that sweep by Freeman McNeil. We've been rather tough on him all day, and also pat him on the back. He absolutely parked Frank Minifield, and there was a face mask, an additional 5 yards, first and goal Jets.
Looks like it's going to be New England at the Jets, a rubber match. They've played twice this year, each team winning at home. The Jets had to do it in overtime on a field goal. Handoff goes to Freeman McNeil, who knocks it down close to the 7-yard line. Jets running the clock with their big lead, 12:42 to play, 27-10. Freeman now up to 60 yards on the day with 21 carries.
Let me make this comment. I think the New York Jets have recovered from an absolute disastrous first quarter to take control of this football game. As it was going in the first quarter, Cleveland was going to run away with it. Bud Carson and his defense made the adjustment, pretty much shut down the running game of Cleveland for the rest of the day, and that's what they do best.
They really did make that adjustment. Browns ripped it up in the first quarter running the ball against the AFC's best team against the run. Into the end zone. Oh, it's tipped away from Nicky Schuler. It had touchdown all over it. It would have been his 8th of the season. Hanford Dixon knocked it away for the Cleveland Browns.
That time he had great protection. This is a pass that someone like Zeke Radkowski, when he shows the film to Ken O'Brien, say, don't do that anymore. Please. On the sideline, I feel like I'm 90 years old when you throw that ball down in the end zone over the middle.
He was a tremendous player with the Packers as the backup to Bart Starr. Whenever Bart went down with an injury, they'd come in with Zeke in the big games. He'd win them.
Excellent player.
Lombardi years. Third down coming up now for the Jets, and Ken O'Brien wants a timeout with 12:07 to play. Jets still in command, and we'll be back in a moment. Number 1, Penn State, and number 2, Oklahoma. The Jets slowly have taken command. Their defense has played a tremendous football game against Cleveland. They set up touchdowns. The Jets leading 27-10 with a lot of time to play. 12 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. O'Brien losing the ball. And O'Brien goes down at the 15-yard line of Cleveland. Reggie Camp ran him down.
Don, the ball has certainly bounced for the Jets. That touchdown by Kurt Sohn out of the hands of Rodgers. A couple of fumbles bounced right back to the New York Jets. This time O'Brien doesn't take a lot of a hit. Reggie Camp gets in his face and bounces off his face mask. Goes as a sack. Is that right, Joe? Goes as a sack.
Pat Leahy now ready for a 32-yard field goal attempt. And again, the former All-American soccer player from St. Louis University hits it from 32 yards out, and the Jets have opened up a 30-10 lead. Just in, the Cincinnati Bengals have just scored a touchdown at New England, and it's now 27-23. We'll be back right after this.
When do you say LA?
Time to start your chestnuts roasting. Deck those halls and other.
Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy back at Giant Stadium. Leahy, who's made his last 12 field goal attempts, kicks off for the Jets, and Langhorne runs it back for the Cleveland Browns. Free ball, and the Browns have it at their 18-yard line. Bobby Humphrey made the pop that freed the ball, but Cleveland got it back. There's the number in New England. Cincinnati just scoring on a 12-yard touchdown throw from Boomer Esiason to Craig Collinsworth, or to Chris Collinsworth, and there's 5:23 left to play in that game. So the Bengals are still in it. There's still hope for the Broncos. There's none for them, though, at Miami, where the Dolphins are out in front of the Bills 21-0. Very little hope here, where with 11:30 to play, the Jets are up 30-10. Look at that. Only one first down today in the second half for Cleveland. Kosar gets it away before he's eaten up by the Jet pass rush. Bernie Flatten is back down at the 2-yard line. Gastineau on him.
Complete to Biner. I thought they were offensive linemen downfield. When he goes back and finally gets set to throw the ball, Mark Gastineau is right there in his face, so he continues to fade. And Klecko. Yes, sir. Hello, Turf. Jet defensive line has performed outstanding today.
Gastineau is 6'5". He weighs 270 pounds, and he's one of the 3 or 4 fastest player on the entire Jet team. They say he gets dressed in a phone booth like Clark Kent. Kosar, free ball, and the Jets can't get to it. So it'll be 3rd down and 6. Kyle Clifton tipped it.
Yeah, ball was tipped right at the line of scrimmage. Ended up behind Ozzie Newsome.
There's the team to beat from the 40 games or so we've seen.
I agree. Last couple of 3 weeks, I've heard a lot of people say, well, Chicago's had their problems. I agree with you. They're my pick.
You go into the Windy City by the shores of Lake Michigan in December, play a playoff game, and then actually in January, they'll start their playoff season.
Face that defense anywhere.
Jets also a 30-10 leader, as are the Bears over the Detroit Lions at the moment. Bernie Kosar with 3rd and 6 coming up. Up back snap goes to Ernest Biner. And he's knocked down at the 26-yard line.
Still only 1 first down in this second half. And the bulk of the yardage that the Cleveland Browns have gained has been in the first quarter.
Marty Schottenheimer, all the Cleveland Browns think the world of Ernest Biner. They'd love to get him 1,000. He's up to 72 yards now for the day, and he's up to 973 for the season. Yesterday we saw Frank Pollard of the Steelers running hard, getting almost to 1,000, which is worth a $10,000 bonus. There's a penalty marker down on the punt return by JoJo Townsell.
12 men on the field, Don. No question about that one. 12 men on the field. Well, that'll give Cleveland a first down. Jets had 12 men on the field. They had 2 punt returners back there. They were both looking at each other. What are you doing here?
Not been an easy day in the Co. We've had a lot of troops down in this game, as now with 9:55 left to play, another Cleveland Brown is down. Big Johnny Davis, the 6'1", 235-pound fullback, who is blocking.
Browns will get the ball back, though. That's a 5-yard penalty. That was funny looking at those 2 punt returners standing there looking at each other. What are you doing here?
It looks like the Cleveland Browns will be heading to Miami's Orange Bowl for an opening playoff game the weekend of January 4th and 5th. Under 2 minutes remaining now at Foxborough. New England has the ball, holding to a 4-point lead. A Patriot victory sends New England into the playoffs as a wild card team in all probability, unless something extraordinary happens here against the Jets here at Giant Stadium next weekend. And a loss by the Cincinnati Bengals means the Denver Broncos are out.
Not last year, 3 teams from the AFC West represented in the playoffs, right? This year, 3 teams from the AFC East, if all scores remain the same.
And quite possibly 3 from the NFC East. Dallas beats the 49ers. Washington will go. The Giants are already in, and so is Dallas, winner of the division. Kosar doesn't like to run, but there was no alternative, and he skids to a halt at the Cleveland 39-yard line. Got about 6.
Kyle Clifton was very kind. Did not take a shot at Bernie Kosar, just let him fall on the ground, tapped him on the shoulder, said, "Get up, son."
Game clock ticking, 9:35 to play. The AFC wildcard game will be here on NBC Sports next weekend. Then on January 1st, that Super Bowl game triple header, culminating with the Orange Bowl in Miami and the national championship game between Penn State and Oklahoma, the 2 top-ranked teams in the UPI coaches poll. 2nd and 4, long ball downfield, and Brennan takes it for the Cleveland Browns. He's inside the 30 and down to the 28-yard line.
Don Brennan is the only receiver on the field today with no gloves on. You see that little hand warmer he has in front. Last week he tried to play with gloves, no luck whatsoever. 2 good friends. Remember that play when Doug Flutie threw the spectacular Hail Mary catch? Bernie Kosar was on the other side of the field. Brennan used to catch him from Flutie. Now he catches him from Kosar.
Well, people forget that was the immortalized Doug Flutie, and it should, but Cosart, one of the greatest days a college quarterback ever had. Threw for over 400, didn't he, for Miami?
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Let's go into the end zone, does Cosart. Jets are there, and Harry Hamilton in position makes the interception. One of Harry's younger brothers, actually two of them, play for Penn State, the #1 team. They'll be in the Orange Bowl, and one of them's an All-American defensive back.
That broke a string of 134 consecutive attempts by Bernie Kosar without an interception. This one should have never been thrown. Intended for Fontenot. Triple coverage if you count the official. Harry Hamilton with the interception.
So the Jets will probably be stuffing the ball at the Cleveland defense, looking to run the clock with the Jets in the lead 30-10. McNeil takes it straight ahead. Didn't get much, but he keeps the clock ticking. The Jets will conclude the regular season with a 10-6 record. They'll go to the playoffs and have the home field for the opening playoff game. But that division championship means so much. A week off.
Gets everybody healthy.
Second and 8 on the 22.
New England has scored again. So the lights are almost out for the Bengals, and unfortunately for those Bronco fans looking in, they'll not go unless there's a miraculous comeback by Cincinnati. Here's a pitch back. Freeman McNeil working to stay in bounds, and he does.
Frank McNeil carries. Stopped by Frank Winfield.
On a 4th and inches play, New England went for the first down, and Weathers ran it. A 225-pound fullback ran it 42 yards for a touchdown. Robert Weathers. So the Patriots seem to have put that game away. 34-23 with 1:52 to play. Stay tuned to NBC Sports to find out wild card alignment, where they'll play, and what time. Looks like it's going to be here at Giant Stadium, but will it be Saturday? We'll find out. Al Toon makes the reception. First down Jets. 12-yard gain.
He's been a factor today. Not caught the big pass, but been a consistent receiver. Gotten himself open. I admire these young guys coming into the league now with all the 6 and 7 defensive back sets. You've got the 3 defenses on the move at full speed. Very tough transition for a receiver and a quarterback to make nowadays in the NFL.
There's a football player, the starting nose tackle in the upcoming Pro Bowl for the Jets. Joe Klecko having maybe his finest season. He's had some great ones. Here's a handoff. McNeil again on first down, gets out to the 37-yard line. The Jets keep the clock ticking. 6:13 to play. And they continue to lead the game 30-10. Tom Cousineau made the stop for Cleveland.
You mentioned Joe Klecko. Interesting, he's now made the Pro Bowl as a defensive end, a defensive tackle in a 4-man set, a member of the sack exchange, and now a nose tackle.
Speculation is the Browns may go to Florida way early to start working in the warm weather because they're going to need points to beat the Dolphins at the Orange Bowl. That's a shootout with the Miami passing game. Bears found that out when Miami hit him for 31 points in the first half against the NFL's top defense. Freeman McNeil cuts back to stay in bounds, and he's across the 40.
Brought down by Jeff Banks.
Now, I read an article in preparing for this football game that Joe Walton himself said we've got to guard against overusing Freeman McNeil. I read the scoreboard 30-10. I wonder why Freeman McNeil is still getting the ball. Now his 24th carry, 75 yards. And then they play next week. They need McNeil as fresh and as healthy as possible.
As we know, great as Freeman is, he's breakable. He's missed a couple of games already this year. He's never played a full season except in the 8-game year. Schuler wide open. First down Jets. Watch this big guy take on tacklers. Dang. Mickey goes down to the 23-yard line. And the Jets are down close again, leading 30-10. Don Rogers got him, but the play's good for 35.
Not bad numbers. 97 catches. The most important ones he got early in the season when the wide receivers were all hurt. You got to give credit here to Ken O'Brien. They had good pressure on him. He moved just a little bit in the pocket to buy himself time. He looks around and finds Schuler, who continues to run the pattern. And Mr. Rogers puts him to the ground, but not until he gets 35 yards. He's close to George Sauer Jr.'s record now, isn't he? I think he's one short.
Yeah, he is. Single season. Dolphins are in as the AFC Eastern Division champions. They now lead Buffalo 28-0 with 3.5 minutes to play at the Orange Bowl. Dolphins will be on the home field all the way through unless they hook up with the Raiders in the AFC Championship game. If the Raiders win tomorrow night, and that won't be easy against the Rams. They should both finish 12-4, the Raiders and the Dolphins. The Raiders would have the home field in a championship game between the two teams.
I think that ties him with George Sauer Jr. 75 receptions in a season, his 5th catch of the day for 81 yards. Looks like Cleveland kind of giving up on coverage a little bit here. No one even close. Al Gross finally over to make the tackle. That puts him in the Jet record book. 75 receptions in a season.
Now they've taken Freeman McNeil out. Johnny Hector in now. On 2nd and 4, he could be getting it here. Hector inside the 15-yard line, and he has a first down for the New York Jets. A 5'11", 200-pound back. He came in with over 540 yards rushing this season.
I just noticed something. I saw Joe Fields walking back to the huddle. He looks like his right arm is bothering him. The worst thing that could happen to the New York Jets is have little nagging injuries that you can't recover from in a week's time. They'll play New England here next week. Might be a short week of preparation. Difficult to get well in just 6 days.
Jets have a good training staff, as you know, Trump, led by Bob Reese. They were selected as the NFL's top training staff by the other trainers in the league. They'll be putting in overtime this week, getting ready for the opening playoff game. Handoff to Hector, and he's down to the 11-yard line. Johnny Hector working hard. Dave Pizzoli made the knockdown, as now this is a matter of the Jets running it out with 3:05 to play in the clock, running the Jets in command 30-10 en route to a wild card playoff spot in the home field in the first game.
And you mentioned that training staff of the New York Jets, where they've done the job is keep this defensive backfield of the New York Jets, at least 4 or 5 of them available each week to play. Unbelievable.
Wire and Elmer's
blue
and string.
It's amazing.
Bobby Jackson didn't play at all today. He might be the Jets' best defender. Hope to have him next week. Tony Page in the backfield with Johnny Hector leading the blocking, and Page takes it down to the line of scrimmage on a 2nd down carry. Game clock down to 2:20 and running as Joe Walton ready to go into the playoffs for the first time as a head coach in the NFL. His previous 2 teams with the Jets were 7-9. He was under heavy fire at the outset of the season. After the first year of the 7-9, he changed a lot of players. Last year, he changed a lot of assistant coaches. This year, bingo, they got the winning combination.
They've won some big games this year, too. Beat Seattle for the first time in their history. Beat Miami here in one of the best performances I've seen by the Jets.
Now the 2-minute warning is given as the Jets send their fans home early and happy. The Patriots and the Jets have had a couple of terrific games this season, and they're going to have another one next Saturday. It leads off with NFL 85 here on NBC Sports at 3:30. And then at 4 o'clock next Saturday, it's going to be the AFC wild card game. The Jets on the home field against New England.
Don, we mentioned many times throughout this season that the team that adjusts seems to win. Today, the Jets defense made the adjustments, wore down the Cleveland Browns. Offensively, they've done very little in the last couple of quarters, and the Jets are running away with it.
Final score is in from Foxborough. The Patriots have won. So 3 teams from the AFC East are in, and the Denver Broncos, despite another great season under Dan Reeves, 11-5, don't go to the playoffs. Since they went to the 16-game schedule in '78, I think there's been 19 teams that have finished 10-6, and only 3 have not made the playoffs. And this year, the Denver Broncos at 11-5 don't get in. They're 24-8 in the last 2 regular seasons are the Denver Broncos. Another throw, another completion down to the 8-yard line.
That gives him the single season record, 76 catches. He erases the name of George Sauer Jr. along with Don Maynard, 2 of the most outstanding receivers in the game. Schuler deserves it. They set it up for him, too. O'Brien, if he didn't catch this one, same play comes again. Congratulations.
Remember Rich Kotite, the Jets offensive coordinator, saying, he said, you could come out of a time capsule and just look at Mickey Schuler's face and you'd know it's game day. This guy, he is really ready. He can't wait to play football. And today he catches 6 for 84 yards and establishes a single-season receiving record. He had 68 catches last year.
He's been busy. He's been one of the biggest parts of this offense because Freeman McNeil has been hurt so much. He's been the most reliable receiver.
Johnny Hector just ran the ball down to the 1-yard line of Cleveland with 1:19 to play. And so the Jets get set to punch it in and look for 37 points to end this day. They're up 30-10, the clock running 1:08 to go. This is the 13th play of the drive. Hector up and over, but not in.
Johnny Hector carries.
Chip Banks knocked him back, 56.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't think Marty Schottenheimer wanted his team to come in here and give up 37 points. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've given up a bunch. On the previous play, watch the trap up the middle. Good double team on Golick. Sweetie does an excellent job on the short trap. Hector up through there right at the 1-foot line.
The Cleveland Browns will be heading to Miami, and the Jets will play New England now. While we have a moment, let's swing on over to Foxborough, where the Patriots have won their way to the playoffs.
We are requesting those of you that are in the end zone, move yourself to the area. It could be a very dangerous situation with the goalposts coming down.
The goalposts are coming down here at Sullivan Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and why not? The New England Patriots, for the first time since 1982, will be a part of the Super Bowl tournament. And they did it in convincing fashion. An outstanding offense, a superb defense. It was a 34-23 win over the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati, their playoff hopes were dimmed yesterday when the Giants knocked off the Pittsburgh Steelers. Today, the Patriots had to win it, and win it they did.
And Tony Page just knocked it in from a yard away, and the Jets have opened up a 36-10 lead. 37 it is now at the extra point.
His 8th touchdown of the season. Ran right over Eddie Johnson. Joe Walton, obviously pleased. Then I repeat, the Cleveland Browns got 2 weeks to rest, but in the last couple of weeks, their defense has given up a lot of points. 33, 31, 21, and today 37.
Well, they're going into an arena where it's like in pro basketball when Miami starts putting up the points. So they're going to have to start scoring to contend with the Dolphins when they go down to Miami, are the Browns.
You will have Bernie Kosar in the Orange Bowl, though.
That's right. That'll be an interesting homecoming. He was a big underdog once before in a big game at the Orange Bowl as a collegian. Now the kick downfield, and the Browns run it back. Boyce Green takes it ahead with just 16 seconds to play. Final numbers are up on the Orange Bowl scoreboard. The Dolphins have beaten the Buffalo Bills 28-0. So the Bills finish with 2 wins in their dilemma. AFC wildcard game here on NBC Sports. 3:30 next Saturday with NFL 85. Now we're back, and Joe Walton looks heavenward. He's actually looking at the clock.
I'll tell you who gets this ball. Ernest Biner. He needs 7 yards for 1,000, which would give the Cleveland Browns dual 1,000-yard rushers. Give it to him.
He got it. There's a penalty marker down. So is Ernest for a loss. That's good for Ernest. Jets are taking no prisoners for this game. In this game that's been out of reach for some time, the Browns start to sprint to the locker room.
Penalty on the defense, though, and the game cannot end.
New England, a 34-23 victory over Cincinnati, finishes 11-5. Miami, a 28-0 victory over Buffalo, finishes 12-4 in the AFC East Division champion again.
One more play.
Jets will finish. Biner up to 993 rushing the ball.
Who do you think will get it? There's no time on the clock. The game or a half cannot end on a penalty on the defense. Joe Klecko was offsides. I have a feeling that Ernest Biner will get this ball. Let's see if he can pick up 7 yards to give him 1,000.
Ernest Biner heading upfield. He's got the 1,000 yards as he comes inside the 35-yard line on the final play of the game. A victory of sorts for the Browns, but minimal compared to what Joe Walton and the Jets achieved today as they go to the playoffs as an AFC wild-card team. And Ernest Biner, after getting 1,000, is down. Or is that Cody Risen down?
Cody Risen, offensive tackle, is down on the ground.
Final numbers up in Foxborough, in Miami, and in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. The Dolphins, the Jets, and the Patriots are the victors, and they all go to the playoffs. It'll be New England against the Jets here next Saturday afternoon on NBC Sports.
Now we got Ernest Biner for 101 yards on the day. Gives him 1,002 for the season. He becomes the first running back to go over 100 against the New York Jet defense. Gives the Cleveland Browns 2 1,000-yard rushers.
And the Cleveland Browns, with an 8-8 record, go to Miami the next time around. They'll be hooking up the weekend of January 4th and 5th with the Dolphins at the Orange Bowl in an AFC divisional game. Marty Schottenheimer with 2 weeks to get his team ready. The Jets have to hook it up and go again next week. Stay with us. We'll be going to the Jet locker room on NFL 85 in a moment. This is Don Crickey for Bob Trumpy with the final score. The Jets 37, the Browns 10. We'll be coming back.